And there we are. Just doing a little random live. And my full frame isn't working. I don't know why. Let me take out the background here. Hold on. So I'm out in the trailer. And this sounds bad. It's coming back in my ear. Hey, Hike with Mike, how you doing? Just doing a random live here. Let me I got to get to the brand here. I got to take off this background. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why it's not going. I don't know why it's not going big. Well, that's weird. Oh well, I'll leave it in the background. Hey Barry, how you doing? How does this sound? Because I'm in the trailer. Is this all right? Oh. Hey Pamela. All right, thanks. Thanks, Barry. Cool. Hey Texas Jack, how you doing? Just a little random live. I didn't want to this is really weird because it's coming back at me. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, cool. Well, I let a couple others pop in. Like I said, I did want to pop in on Lockbeard because he kind of was on Saturday, since I've kind of abandoned it, and that's fine. I wanted to make a couple announcements. Nothing big, just I am uploading a. Hey Joey, hope you feel better. I just wanted to make a couple announcements. I'm gonna and I'll repeat this a couple times. So those of you are popping in early and you need to go to bed, I'll just tell you now, and I'll repeat it a couple times. Hey Joe, how you doing? Um, the big one is I'm removing all the ads from my channel. You guys will be happy about that. I wanted to see if you know, I'm happy with the size I am and all that. That's fine, but it's not doing anything. I think I just looked at it and it's $7 in the last the last 30 days, and I'm like, the only one who's benefiting from this is YouTube. So I'm gonna spare you guys, and excuse me, I appreciate you hanging in there for the experiment, but it's not worth it. I'm interested though if that's gonna play around with the analytics and the notifications and all that stuff, like I hear. So this would be a hey Piper. So this would be a good experiment, but I am going to remove the ads. I'm going to go back through after this and probably just unclick them all, so they'll just be there. Start cleaning up the channel a little bit. Someone mentioned, who was it? Someone mentioned on some evidence Joey and I got with the footprint in chapter 5 and the howl, that they weren't going to watch the whole video, that I just need to put the clip up there only and make it accessible to vet. The whole vetting process. And I did want to talk about that tonight because take the $7. Max, it's not worth it. I honestly feel like I don't need the $7. I thought it would be, I thought I'd be making 30-50 bucks a month or something like that. It's not even close. Hang on, something in my pocket's going off. iPhone mount. Charge. I loaded up my pocket. Sorry, I loaded up my pocket before I came out here. iPhone. But it's not making any more money. It's not making any money. So Max, I'm turning it off. This is ridiculous. I mean, I feel like I'm doing all the, it's a lot of work. These videos are, it's embarrassing because I'm not a good editor. I'm not fast, but I'm spending 20 hours, sometimes 40 if I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm getting faster, but Oh, Max is saying he's not monetized and there's ads on his channel. Well, that changes everything. So we'll find out. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna turn them off for this next video. I'm gonna turn them off, and that's my second announcement. Chapter 6 with Max Powers, who's in the audience, is uploading as we speak. So I am checking. It is at 84% completion. It is chapter 6. It is the corridor chapters. Man, and we had a good hike. I had a blast out there with Max. So he has the link if he wants to pop on. But otherwise, I was just gonna I was just gonna yap tonight. And yeah, there's have you ever been out with someone your professionalism just takes a nosedive? I don't know what it is. When Max and I are together, it's pretty funny. We have a good time, and that's what it's about. So he's been gone a couple months, and I already miss him. So I am thinking about going out tomorrow. It will be solo. Joey's in the chat. He's a little injured. I've been nursing a knee for 6 weeks. I haven't been out, but I've been editing. So we are just gonna, I'm debating on kayak or I'm debating on, just a couple miles on a trail that I'm familiar with, and just kind of be a casual hiker and see what happens and listen more than try to shoot. But I think I am going to try to get out tomorrow. I worked all day on this chapter 6 with Max, and it's a pretty good one. I wanted to come on because this one is, to me, where I'm going to be focusing all of my energies. Pretty much, I've done a year in the Green Swamp. I'll go there whenever I need to be out there with Ron, because that's another good time. So it's not to say I'm not going to be in the Green Swamp, but I'm going to focus down more toward Hillsborough County, back in my area, Lettuce Lake Park, Hillsborough River, up through the corridor, going out through the Green Swamp, and just really explore that river and some areas more. I think a lot of people are overlooking that. So, and there's too many people in the Green Swamp. I mean, I mentioned this with the Small Town Monsters visit. You all saw it. We were doing wood knocks. They were doing wood knocks. Tate did some screams at, I think it was chapter 3. If you haven't seen that, his screams are unbelievable. There's just my opinion is there's too many people out there. And when I'm on a kayak, and even in the Green Swamp, the number of people you see drops to almost nil. So I'm gonna really get back to what I said I was gonna do in the kayak. We had a great spring, whatever it was. I don't know the seasons because I live in Florida. We don't have seasons. Whatever January, February, March was, we had everyone and their brother come down, to see Ron or Ron and me, and that was a blast. But now it's summer and people don't like to get out. But you know what? I've been in this heat my whole life. It doesn't bother me, as long as I remember to take water. But I know how to play the heat, and I know what I can do. So I'm gonna go ahead and go out, and it'll probably be kayak tomorrow, because you can kind of lean over to splash yourself. So I'm gonna go out, be quiet, and just do some stealth stuff. Maybe do a GoPro mount on the front, put my Lumix in a bag, and just not look like a Bigfooter, but just look like play the role of the kayaker, and just really tune into the environment, and just enjoy the day. I want to see what happens, because we're always out there with people, and you're having conversations, and you're talking strategy, and you're learning a bunch of stuff. And I think in this chapter 6 that I'm releasing, you'll see some of the stuff I've picked up. You'll see some of the stuff Max picked up. You'll see a little bit of analysis. You'll see me. At one point, I referenced Tim T, because he had a really, really solid find one time on a tree that was down, where we followed footprints. And this was in the Green Swamp, where we followed impressions all the way to this tree, and it looked like something got on the tree and walked across into deeper swamp. That's exactly what it looked like. And I will admit it was impressions to a tree. Now, whether or not, I'm not saying it was a Bigfoot, but it was impressions to a tree. Now, would you and I walk up to a tree, jump on it, and walk across and go deeper in the swamp? No. But a bear would, and a double bear print step, as you know, would, and all that stuff. So I'm just saying it was a really, really cool trick he taught me, and I actually spotted something like that, very similar with Max. So you know, and teepees and some of the things we found at this area. It's not necessarily a new area, it's just an area I'm going back to. And really looking at it more. So anyway, so the two announcements were, for those who have to get to bed, because I know I'm popping on late, I'm taking the advertising off my channel. I just don't think it worth it unless the commercials are still there for you all. If they are, let me know, because I didn't know they did that. I thought I had to trigger that. And two, the video's gonna upload soon after tonight, and I think it's a good one. I like it, and we had a good time. So that's really what I wanted to say. Let me come back through the chats. So we got Barry out there, Texas Jack, appreciate it. Hike with Mike's, Piper, Ida, always there. Michael, appreciate it. And Pamela Esper, met in Lakeland, I think you said. Yeah. And of course, Max. And let's see, I think that may be it. Ah, Violet Grace. Wow, what are you doing up? You're supposed to be on vacation. So anyway, sorry, I got the sniffles. Like I said, been editing, and Joe, appreciate it. Florida Lone Wolf. Oh, good group. What, 22? Wow. That's pretty good for an unplanned. So that's what I wanted to say. So you'll see it tonight. It's already uploading. I forgot which step I was on. Oh, you know what? It's got to do the high res, doesn't it? Let me see where it's at. It's gotta, you're right. It's gotta do the HD. Yeah, because it's uploaded. It says processing will begin shortly. So that's going to be at least another hour. It's 40 minutes. It's 40 minutes. I put a lot on the cutting room floor. Starting to learn, or force myself to do that, because you know I run camera all the time. So I'm just there. You know, I could have got this down to 20 minutes, to tell you the truth, but I like doing those zooms into the wood line. I like doing the bubble on there. I like looking 70, 80 yards out. So I left some of that in there. I may, as the series progress, do less and less of that, but I'll always have it. What else was I talking about? Oh, I've also been working hard the last 2 weeks with the vetting, with the vetting process, is trying to get that howl that Joey and I caught in chapter 6 and the impression, you know, looked at by people, and the people I knew that would respond, you know, your Max, your Mikes, and Small Town Monsters. I mean, those guys came through to me, but I'm trying to get some bigger names, not bigger names, but big names. Looking at those two and giving me some feedback, and they're just not. So the frustration of that whole vetting process to me is, I'm really having second thoughts about it. I to the point where at this point, I think I know what I'm doing, and I know what I want to say, and I know what I'm comfortable with saying about my own work, whether or not I understand it or not. And I don't think I'm going to go out begging people to help me vet this stuff or give me opinions. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they don't want to tell me the impression is not a Bigfoot track or what, but I can tell you the one Joey and I got, I don't know what the heck it is. I know it's not a bear. I think it was 17 by 8. I mean, it's a big one. And what's thrown me is the heel, how the heel hit. It barely hit. The heel, if you flip it, it looks like it went in, but on the right side, it barely hit. It barely hit, but everything else really went down. I see the movement that Dr. Meldrum was talking about, and I've sent it to Dr. Meldrum. So Meldrum has the the headshot possible pareidolia that I got in the nest. I sent him that, and I said, "Can you take a look at this? Can you take a look at this impression?" And I've sent it to other folks and have not heard. So Meldrum wrote back in a text and said he'll try to look at it, but he's obviously a busy guy, and I get that. But where does that leave me? That leaves me with some interesting stuff that I find interesting and I can't explain, and I'm not going to be able to explain it because I'm not a woodsman. And I understand that. I understand that I don't you know, I've learned tracking the last 2 years. I've learned a lot of things that we're trying to understand about how everybody goes looking for Bigfoot, um, just the last couple years. And I know that nobody knows nobody's getting anywhere, no or any farther, but I am catching movement. I mean, we did way back, you know, like I said, the video of the head and the nest that's on my opening that I end with, on that little trailer with the profile and the nest. I cannot debunk that as a photographer. So I did send that on to someone big who does breakdowns. And I said, look at it. I want to be able to put this aside. I'm not afraid to have someone tell me this is crap, or not that it's crap, but it's nothing. Just say, hey, it's nothing and this is why. And I did something where I put a template mask, and it's on my Instagram, where I took a profile of an actual hominid profile and face shot, where you got the profile and the head on face side by side. Mine's a profile, so I took the profile, overlaid it to the video to show you what it looks like. And I had someone tell me I did a red circle. No, I didn't do a red circle. I put a profile mask of a humanoid profile, a legit profile mask over the possible pareidolia or the possible headshot of something I caught in that nest. I did not put a red circle on it. Let me make that clear. So that was to me a little offensive. And that was also very dismissive. It was like, that was a squirrel. Or you just put you just, led the narrative by putting that face. No, I put a mask on it to show that I'm trying to figure this out. And yeah, that was 6 months into my Bigfoot journey, but I can't debunk it. Um, so I am going to be trying new things. I'm going back and looking at evidence. You remember Tim T and I got that movement in the woods that time at his spot where something ran by, but it didn't run by like this. It floated by. And people were saying that was a bird. And there was no way that was a bird. And I was on wide angle. It was early on, and I wasn't doing the magic bubbles. And then right after that, we caught the eye looking at us. That to me looks like a wolf of some sort, a coyote. Um, Tim did a reverse angle the following week, and it was 6 feet high. So we have pieces that we can't explain yet, and I just want to, now that I'm getting better with the video, I'm trying my own stuff to lay it on there, and I just want to see if I can debunk. My goal is to debunk this stuff, and I can't debunk my own stuff yet. Now, you'll see in this video with Max and we see a lot of stuff, and we debunk it with an iPhone. 70 yards with an iPhone, we debunked 3 or 4 or 5. Really, we had a lot more. I quit putting it in there because it was getting ridiculous. I can look at something with an iPhone Pro 13 at 60, 70 yards and debunk it. I don't know why other people can't debunk their own stuff at 70 yards, but I can do it with an iPhone now. So, but these other things I cannot debunk. So, the vetting process. I'm done with the vetting process. I really am. I'm frustrated with it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to do my work. I'm going to post it on my channel. I'm not going to call it a print. I'm going to call it an impression. I'm not going to call it a Bigfoot. I'm going to call it pareidolia or possible something in that nest and let other people debunk it. And I don't care what they debunk, but just saying it's a bird or saying it's pareidolia without showing me why you think it's pareidolia. I mean, we do that a lot to each other. And I see that. I see we and I think Max said this once. The very first time I met Max, he goes, we're very quick to to he was much more technical. But basically the moral of it was we're very quick to poo-poo ideas and to poo-poo evidence because of one thing where in this situation it was, but it doesn't mean in all situations it's like that. Um, and I told you guys I don't look at impression. I'm sorry, I'm ignoring you guys in the chat in the chat. Um, hey Leon, how you doing? I'm on a rant. Sorry. Um, I'm just gonna do my stuff, guys. I'm gonna do my stuff and put it on my channel. And if somebody needs a 15-second clip, you know, again, this is what made me laugh when someone said that. Oh, well, Matt, they're not going to watch the whole video. That you need to put a 15, 20-second clip up so we can just oh, so you're going to make a decision in 15 seconds of what you think it is in 15 seconds without seeing the 15 minutes leading up to it or the 15 minutes out, past that. I thought the whole purpose of shooting video was so you would have a more complete picture of the story and what's I don't even know why I'm ranting. I don't know why I'm talking to myself. Um, it's just frustrating. I'm frustrated with trying to send stuff to people to look at. There's 7 or 8 people I can count on, and the rest of the people don't respond. And there's some big names that I wanted to respond because I want to know. And you keep saying, well, we got to get better, then help us out. Help the people out that are trying to do a decent job without just giving your flippant opinion. And that's what ticks me off. But anyway, that's my rant. So I'm turning off my ads. If the ads come on, it's not me. If they stay on and I hear you all telling me you're seeing ads anyway, I might as well turn them on and get my $1.29, every 3 months, because that's about what I'm making on YouTube. And I just felt like YouTube's making more off me than I am off them. Texas Jack says, Matt, are you surprised the armchair experts are lazy? Well, yeah, I am. I am surprised. I'm totally surprised because there's people here in this chat that if you all want to do some research for someone who's actually out there trying to do something, help, you know. Um, he said the Fellowship of the Yak. I like that. That's actually pretty good. So anyway, there's a lot of that you guys like a Piper or a not Sandra Piper. Who else? Ida, and there's so many people that are regulars on all of our channels that you guys can find a team you want to work with in Texas and say, what can I do to help? I mean, I did not realize, and you'll see it in this video I released tonight, that there was just one, and we should know it. I think it was a blue jay um, that Max and I heard, but when it kept coming up, it was coming up at weird times, and I said, "Let me just run the bird app." Well, I tried to do it out there, and I went, I'm wasting time looking at my phone, and then I remembered Mike, Tactical Bigfoot Research, said, you can do that at home, and I went, what? He goes, yeah, when you're editing and post production, just put your iPhone up to the microphone, to the speaker and run it. So I did, and I was able to save time and do that after the fact. So you'll see some of that. But you know what? You guys can do that too. You guys can run these bird apps and Merlin and BirdNet on everybody else's channel when they're claiming things and help them figure out what it is. I did respond to a channel the other day that said, they asked for feedback, and I was in this, man, I'm not getting feedback like I want, so I'm a little ticked off. So I saw where someone asked for feedback. Does anybody know what this is? And I just, yeah, this is this, this is that, this is this. And I think it was on Standing Goats Rescue's channel. He asked an opinion on what this is, and I gave him three things of what it is, and one of them I said I'm 100% sure that's what it is. And it was orbs and what people call the lightsabers. And I talked about slow shutter speed on game cameras, and I talked about any light that comes through. If a deer's running, the feedback of the eyes from the infrared is going to be a straight line, or it's going to be a line that wobbles. I see it in my cameras on the side of my house all the time. Oh, and the one big one was this orb, and it showed up in the picture, and then they went to a deer scene, and then they came back and showed it, and it was a spider. And someone made a comment, "Look, there's a light coming from the spider." I said, "That is 100% a spider." Or from the orb. And I said, "That is 100% a spider. And what you see is the glowing out of focus web that looks like a light." And I was sure of that because I see it all the time. And I just said, in my opinion, and you did ask for feedback. So if we ask for feedback, give us feedback. Just don't be a jerk. I think that's what anybody's saying. But I'm tired of trying to do due diligence and reaching out with private emails and private texts and saying, "Hey, can you look at this? Can you help?" And getting nada. I mean nada. And then they turn around and say you're not doing a good job trying to vet. Well, then maybe someone needs to start a vetting committee. Can there be 10 people in the Bigfoot world that signs up as vetters, that are good with web research, that are good with checking birds, that are good with using Merlin Bird app, and we always send to this network of vetters. Maybe we could create a network of vetters. That would help me. But right now, I'm just going to do my stuff, keep my head down, and go about my business. And you guys can look at my stuff how you want to look at my stuff. I'll do the short little clips with no context associated with them. If that's what you want, a 15-second clip so you can just see it. And what's going to happen is, well, what happened before that? Well, yeah, that's why you got to watch the video. As a matter of fact, I gave you a timestamp. Go to 45.02. And no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to watch the whole. No. Bring up the video, speed ahead to 44 or whatever it was. And I don't know how much easier I can make it, guys. So I'm frustrated. You can tell it. So head down, focus on my own stuff. Less lives. I need to be out in the field. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to worry about myself. And when spring comes around and people come to Florida, you're going to see me go out and have fun with like-minded Bigfoot researchers and going out with them. That's another thing. I heard people like, "Well, you're going out with too many guys. Boy, you're a big socialite, blah, 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 blah." Man, you learn so much faster when people come down and visit and start giving you advice when they're out with you, and they'll point out something. You'll see it in this video that uploads tonight with Max. And I made a comment on the video twice. I said something, and I said, "Oh, here's the perch." And it wasn't like 10 seconds, and Max goes, "Alleged perch." Like, like, thank you. And I think I even said thank you. So anyway, you'll see that a lot. But I'm just gonna focus on my own stuff, guys. It's just I'm not going to come home, be out in the woods, come home and edit a video for 30 hours, look at my research, and try to send it around to all these top names in Bigfoot world just to get nada. I'm not going to do it. So I even tried to bring them on channels, when I was doing the live. Everybody's busy, blah, blah, blah. So Matt's going to worry about Matt. Okay? That's what I'm doing. I'm out kayaking. I'm in the woods. When I'm not doing that, I'm hanging with researchers. I'm learning all the time, and I'm moving forward. That's what it is. So, no, you're not, Max. You are awesome. Boy, for somebody who wasn't going to say anything, I don't know what happened. I might delete this after this. I don't know. Have I ever deleted a video? Okay, let me see what's going on here. No, you're not, Matt. Life. That's mentoring. A wise man once told me to choose wisely of someone who shows he can do what you want to do. He can do what you want to. Driftless. I agree. Post it as unknown and let everyone else do the work if they want to. Yep. Yep. Yeah, and I do have my channel set up like that, and I kind of got away from it because, like I said, just to get a video out is 20, 30 hours. And I'm wondering, am I supposed to be doing videos? I mean, am I supposed to just go out all day, shoot, 6 hours of video and only post the 40 seconds that I don't know what's happening and that's it? Maybe that's the extent of it. Maybe that's what I should be doing or any new researcher should be doing. I don't know. It may go down to that. Not hey, it's a lot less work on me, and then I could go back to doing the lives, right? So I don't know. Uh, I'm not there yet, Mike. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Texas Jack, do what you want. Everyone else can do and gather their own evidence if they don't like it. Yeah. Yeah, Chuck, and I saw where you said send it to you. Good chance an orb will appear and these creatures followed you home. Yeah. Maybe so. I felt weird with the little I mean, it wasn't a Bigfoot. It was a that stick thing on chapter 1. I told you I felt weird coming out of the house, walking in the Airstream. I knew it was on the other side of that fence. So that was kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, maybe some of you guys that don't go out can set up a channel where you vet. And I'm not saying you rip. We already got channels that go after people who are being dishonest or trying to pull the wool over your eyes, Nikki, and we got Steve Coles and to an extent Leon and some others. We already got that, but maybe someone could just build a more of a support channel of vetters and maybe say Bigfoot Vetters channel, and maybe you ask people to send you stuff. And I'm not saying when you get it, you roll it and make fun of it. You give them an honest feedback and why you think it's what it is, and you be professional about it. And maybe more people would do that. It's a great idea. I don't have time to do it because I'm trying to catch her. My whole purpose is, 20, 30, 40 seconds of movement. Uh-oh. Here we go. Bigfoot has lightsabers now. Cool. Jedi Sasquatch. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Yep. I'm sorry. Did I leave you out? Well, you know how to get a hold. I mean, we chat in the background all the time. I want my $2. What is this? Make a video of what you want seen, not a timestamp in a video. That's kind of what I'm doing. I thought, I think context goes a long way. So I'm surprised that someone would tell me to narrow clip down to 10 seconds because they want to rule on 10 seconds. They don't want to see the area that we walked into, how far we were off trail, or the fact that what the ground looked like, what the terrain looked like, what the river looked like. They just wanted to see the print. That's weird to me. You got to have context. I don't care who you are. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm just looking to see if I missed anything. Oh, maybe I said something right. I'm sorry, guys. I'll probably delete this. Central. Hi, Peter North here. Old Dutch. Over gas station, begging for pickles and stuff. Okay, cool, awesome. I'm not going to disagree with that. I would have ran first, then called the cops. But be the person who doesn't care that they are not asked to the school dance. Be the person who doesn't care they are not asked. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, that's kind of how I feel tonight. That's exactly what's pouring out. I think is that um, I think when okay, I think here I'm gonna say it. I think someone like me that doesn't have a big name, when they reach out to people and they say, "Who in the f is that? Why should I look at his stuff?" and they're not going to look at it. And so again, dismissed. Before they even look at it, or did they look at it? And I'm not going to start throwing names out there who I reached after, but I reached after some big names. Um, so yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And one day they're going to be calling for me, and guess who's not going to be there? I probably won't. Um, Not that I hold grudges. I can work with people and move on, but um, don't come knocking all of a sudden my evidence or somebody else's evidence starts showing you what you wanted, and all of a sudden you want to be in the in club and be hanging with this person when you didn't respond at all when they were trying to reach out. Um I don't know. That's why we watch you? I don't know why people watch anybody, to tell you the truth. I watch a lot of people, and a lot of shows, and yeah. I think I'm getting to the point where I had a good friend tell me this the other night, you know, stay off the shows. Don't go on. They're not doing anything for you. Why just do your work and make your videos, be you and enjoy the woods. And you know what? That's pretty solid advice right there. Yeah. The reason why I mentioned about how the evidence is presented, Meldrum likely gets a lot of timestamp videos sent to him. The better the evidence appears, the more likely you'll get a response. Yeah, I did. I did. I took your advice on that. I appreciate it. And that wasn't directed at you necessarily. You weren't the only one. Um, I think the person I talked to the longest was Max and Alex Petikoff. We had a really, really long talk, and Alex is brutal on evidence. Alex is like, hey, I looked at it and it's not good enough. And my question was not necessarily I'm not saying what I have is going to change anything. I'm just saying, does it raise an eyebrow? Does it make you think, wow, okay, that's an area you want to stay in? Or, I don't know. I think you're seeing something. But basically, I'm trying to ask someone more experienced than me. If you saw this, would you be interested in it? Is this interesting to you? Um, so that's what I was trying to do. But it's exhausting. It's just, guys, it's just exhausting. It takes and people know here. I mean, Max knows and Brent knows how long it takes to do these videos. Um, Mine are taking, I can tell you, probably taking longer than theirs because I do a complete audio pass, I do a complete visual pass, I do a complete Magic Bubble Pass. I do, I'm having to watch the same video for 40, and that's why the last one on chapter 5, the last one with Joey, um, there's an audio track. And Sasquatch Adirondacks caught it. He goes, "Hey, Matt, if I could tell you that one piece of audio is really loud," and I went, "What?" And I looked back, and I had drug the clip I was going to use. When you have timelines, I wish I could show you what Premiere looks like, but you have multiple video timelines of video, multiple timelines of audio, and I had my audio at the beginning of chapter 5 and at the end of chapter 5, and I thought there was a piece in the middle I could use it, and I brought it in and dropped it, and I dropped it 2 lines down where I didn't see it, and it ran full volume. So it wiped out the owl that scared the crap out of me, and the audio is just way too loud. And that's because I didn't know the audio track was there. And it had already posted, it already had, like 150 views before he made the comment, and I realized it. So I couldn't fix it. So this one I tried to pay. Matter of fact, I only used music at the beginning and the end, and that was my opening music. So anyway, when you see the opening, well, I have it queued up. I could show you guys what I did with the mask, with the human face template, and laid it over the pareidolia to see if I could dismiss it. And what I realized is I can't. When I laid that mask over the image, it freaked me out even more. Like, wow, this could actually be something, and nobody's stopping to look at it. But I understand for what it is at face value, I can't prove anything. But people can at least say, well, that's actually interesting. You need to make sure you're looking at that area. And that's all I'm saying is, and I showed it at work, and people aren't seeing it. But when I put the template mask on it, can I run it? You all mind? Can I show you what I did? It's not a red circle. I'm not leading the narrative. I'm trying to debunk it. So let's get that clear. If you say anything else, you're full of crap. So let me just run it. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's in the brand. Man, it's hot out here. It's in the 80s, low 80s.
You gotta be kidding me.
There you go. Now, one of my areas that I took it out of that one. Hang on. Sorry about that. Let me hit escape here. I'm not in my studio, so this is kind of I'm scared I'm going to close you guys out. Oh, how can I show you that? Escape. Okay, there. My screen is not going down. Hang on. That is weird. Yeah, I think because my video is uploading. I can't pull the window down to grab the video. I thought I had it on that clip. Let me bring the chat back up. Yeah, so anyway, Meldrum does have it. He has the timestamp. I sent him the 3D model of the print, and then I sent him the video link to part 3 where the headshot at the end of that video just stood with a timestamp so he could see everything, the distance, and that there was a print before it and that there was a couple wood taps before it. I think you need to have all that context to me. Maybe not Meldrum because he's just looking at the print and nothing but the print. I get that. But the 3D model is only a minute and a half. I mean, I just need a minute and a half of his time. I mean, if you can't get someone's time like that for a minute and a half on a footprint expert, let's start throwing this stuff aside if it's not worth looking at. So anyway, I messed that up. It won't allow me to here, let me try this. Oh, I can do video. Let me do this first. Let me there you go. Let me do this first. Is there a way to share video file? I may have it on my desktop. So here's what I did. I think I can turn the audio off. Yeah, I can. Okay, there. See why I'm confused, guys? Now, let me tell you one of the things I heard. Well, you need to put a hominid facial template up there because the mouth is going to be in a different location than the nose. Well, my question to that is, how do we know that? I mean, I see ears that are the only. I'm sorry. I see an eye that lines up. I see a nose that lines up. I see an ear that lines up. I see a skull that lines up. I even see the 2 branches coming across the bottom of something being under that continues. I see a black person's face profile sitting in a nest at the same time I found footprints and wood knocks. That's all I'm saying, and I'm trying to debunk this. So if you guys have any pareidolia that looks any better than that, and I said it a year ago, if this is pareidolia, that is the best pareidolia ever captured. I mean, there's other headshots in the bush going around. You all seen it where I don't know what the hell they look like. Beach balls, from beach balls to basketballs to everything like that. This is not like that, but if you look, I'm looking at the forehead and where this head of the template would fall. Anyway, my point is, do you all consider that a red circle? Or do you understand what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to be honest here and debunk this, but this is not debunking it for me. And I don't know if you all saw this before when I was running it and no one knew what I was talking about, but I've been a photographer for 50 years. I can't debunk this. So, I don't know. I don't know. The link's out there if anybody wants to jump on and yell at me. Well, whatever. Why am I so heated? How do I get this off? Okay. Oh, I haven't even done a live in so long. But anyway, that's what I was trying to do. I'm not putting a red circle on it. I'm trying to say I really thought I would put that up there and it would be so off that I could throw it away. Finally, I'm not going to throw it away. I'm not going to throw it away. I haven't seen anyone with anything better. So that's all I got to say. I'm just reading your. I don't know if you guys are talking to me or talking to somebody else. There's a hoaxing 2.0 group. Oh, here. There's a hoaxing 2.0 group that you should join, Matt. Jeff and many others are part of it, and you'll definitely get an answer. Well, I tried. They can, they can come find me at this point. I'm done. I'm done chasing people to help. That's the point of what I'm saying. Visit the channel, look it up. If you want anything, I even put in the email to several people that I can drop any clip I've ever shot in my whole 2 years. I can drop it in Dropbox, and you can have the original copy without the bubbles, without the brightening. You can do whatever you want with it. So I can share any of these clips. So I don't have time to go hiking, produce a video, try to put something together, show people how research looks like, enjoying doing videos, enjoy doing documentaries, and then do all the legwork that is expected of us, where I could be doing vetting 40 hours a week. I'm just saying I'm not doing it. I'm just going to go out and enjoy the woods and make my videos. And if you guys like them, that's great. And if you guys want to write in and say, hey, that's this, I'm pretty sure, tell me why. I'll move it out of the unexplained category and I'll take it off my promo reel, because I don't want to lead the audience to thinking that I'm saying this is a Bigfoot. And yeah, it's evidence I can't explain. But do I have time in an opening to say, I captured this, but I don't know what it is? I'm not going to do that. Nobody does. So anyway. Bueller. We can change the subject. Life, what are you doing tomorrow? Anybody? I'm going kayaking at 7 a.m. Nobody wants to go. They're scared. They're scared of the corridor. Why are you scared of the corridor? Carrie's green pareidolia looks like a face, but our brains are designed to make up faces in the greenery. It's a defense mechanism. I agree with that 100%. And in the video I'm uploading tonight, you'll see exactly that. I think what I just showed you is far beyond what that is though. Just my opinion. Is that wall like crying? I don't know. Probably. Okay, guys. Well, let me see where the video is. Chapter 6 is uploading. I think it is uploaded. It's 39 minutes and 59 seconds long. It is called The Corridor, Chapter 6, A Closer Look at the Core. And the core meaning the center of the corridor. I got the advertising turned off. I am actually toggling off all of them right now. I don't know if I can do them all at once or not. I don't want anyone to have to weed through a beginning ad, but according to Max, you're going to have to see an ad anyway. Let me know if you do. I turned it off on the last 4 videos anyway. I'll tell you what, I turned it off on all the corridors for sure. And the apology. Oh, I wanted to say, what's up, Life?
Hey, what's up, Matt?
Oh, I'm fit.
What's that?
I'm having a wah-wah moment.
Uh,
What you up to?
you know, it's understandable because, you and me are kind of, how do I say it? You're a little bit more advanced where I'm at. And, I don't have the connections and so forth, but it was equally frustrating at the beginning, just trying to reach out and make contacts with people.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, I wasn't getting nothing back. And I totally get the frustration, but at the same time too, with seeing what you've done and um, watching your equipment and the stuff that you've done, I've learned a lot from you, and the fact that we have um, talked a little bit about equipment in the past as well. So I appreciate everything you've done so far. Just to
Oh,
let you know that.
I appreciate it. Did you get my email back on that night vision?
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I've made the adjustments.
Yeah,
Now,
mine is too tight. It's like shooting with a 200 millimeter, and I don't like it. So I'm willing to sell mine. I'm also going to sell my Scout.
okay.
So I'm going to sell
And
mine for about $200. I think you had a price on there like 280. We're
yeah,
talking
something like that.
Yeah, so I'm going to sell that. The Scout, I can't remember what I paid for it. I think I paid $650. Does that sound right?
Yeah, at the time, there's the new Scout that's out that looks like it's more defined.
Yeah.
And in my situation here, I'm going to guess that Florida is a lot like June up here in Ohio, where it's just the ground vegetation is just so dense because you get all that new growth coming in the spring. And other than staying on trails, which is what I did in June, um, you really can't see that much or do that much in the wilderness. Now that we have August coming, a lot of the canopy is now going to kill off that lower ground level vegetation and hopefully be able to see more out there.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, it took a while for me to. I'm only 2 years into this, so it took me. It probably took me about 6 months to get up to move off the trails.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved off of them, I still knew exactly where I was, meaning I didn't go that far, but I went where I could either have visual, which in Florida is kind of hard, or I did the tree to tree to tree and knew I could go tree to tree to tree to tree to back sort of thing. But I will tell you, the things I started seeing once you got off the trail, even if it's 100 yards, 50 yards, doubles easily.
Oh, and I believe it.
Yeah.
Most of most of what I've experienced now, I'm in that boat as well. I've seen something, but I'm not willing to say exactly what it was. I'm not willing to say that that was the the creature.
Right.
Because in the two times that I've witnessed it, I didn't get a good look, and the other one was 300 yards away, and all I could see was something moving through the trees. But
that's a long distance. Yeah.
that's a long distance, and for me to say, well, it wasn't another hunter or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's my thing. I spend a lot of time in the woods by myself, and I wanted to bring up you were talking about pareidolia earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And give me a second here. I'm gonna shift here real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I can go on a 1-hour hike and come back with 10 photos that most people would post on their website as Bigfoot. Every time I go out, I could do that easily.
Yeah.
And that's what's frustrating with that. But the one I have in my trailer is the first time where it's a little different, you know. I never had anything line up like that. It's the first one I've actually thought, oh, this is worthy of tracking down, you know, the proportions of a human head and lining it up. And then you hear people say, oh, well, even that's too close. There would be a bigger distance here. I went, well, how do you know that? We don't know anything. You know,
What?
I'm just baffled by how we all just crap on everything so quick, and
Well,
then don't be of assistance when needed, and you
I
just bounce around from channel to channel, spewing your wisdom.
any picture that you try to put up and whatnot that it's you're going to have automatic judgment as soon as somebody sees something. As far as sometimes saying pareidolia, one of the things that kind of I always reminds me is a couple of times as a hunter, and actually more than once, where I've been sitting out in the woods, just sitting there this was on state property. And I've had an old lady, excuse me, and I shouldn't call her an old lady, but an older lady come up through the woods. She was traveling to her home by crossing state property. I'm just sitting there, and she's only a couple feet away from me when I said hi. She never saw me, and that poor woman about jumped out of her skin. When you're camouflage, you're mixed in the environment and stuff like that. If that kind of situation, who's not to say that maybe it's not. Maybe it is the hunter sitting there in the woods, and it's hard to see them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and Max makes a comment on this video that I'm gonna upload tonight. Well, it's already uploaded. It's ready to go. But I think I just got to put the thumbnail on it, and it's ready to go. Max made a comment. What did you just say? I'm sorry. Do you remember that line?
Which one?
The last line you said.
Oh, who's to say it's not a hunter sitting in the woods? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was right before that or right after that. The same situation came up in this video I'm releasing, where we had that exact conversation, or he uttered pretty much the same words. So, I don't know.
Well, what I'm saying is, maybe if it is, it's not to say that the creature isn't so good at hiding that, you're not mistaking them for being that hunter sitting in the woods. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's hard with that kind of situation, I think, to me, just based off experiences and stuff like that. And, but when
I know in my case, this one could not have been a hunter sitting in the woods.
And yeah, that's not what
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm for anybody else who may have.
And I'm just referring to it as a scenario. That who's not to say that it's not just sitting there and letting you walk by, you never see it. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say that creature isn't just, and deer do it too. That it's not just sitting there waiting for you to go by, and it's not moving, and you're not seeing it.
That's what Max said. That's what you said. That I remember Max saying in this last video was that I went in less than 20 yards and disappeared out of his sight. And then he made a comment about, I don't know if I left it in the film, but we were shooting something, and he goes, and you got to understand here in Florida, looking at this corridor, that if you're not moving, you're never going to see anything. These palms that we were under, which are normally 5-6 foot tall, were 20 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, these things were, I mean, if I pointed my camera up, that's all you saw. Very little sky. I mean, we were walking under these, these brush palms. I mean, this place was pretty special. And
I believe he made the observation too that, if it's not moving, we're not designed to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I get that. And I get that. But when I'm out, if you look at the way I shoot and you look at how I do those magnification bubbles,
Mm-hmm.
and it's frustrating for me to watch other videos, is I watched an expedition, a big expedition that just happened. Was watching their footage the other day, and I was just like, why am I watching this? There was literally nothing to watch. You know, between cameras pointed at the ground the whole time, nothing pointed at the wood line. If it was at the wood line, they were such a wide angle that past 30, 40 feet, you know, you could have had a human standing there and you're not going to see it. That kind of stuff. It was just a weird expedition that I couldn't get my head around, to the point where I watched it twice. Like, am I missing something? Like, am I doing my expeditions wrong? Should I be doing this? But, you know, I think in 2 years, that I've gone from a trail guy to I can't stand being on the trail.
Mm-hmm.
From and I wouldn't be like that if it wasn't for Max, if it wasn't for Ron, if it wasn't for Joey, a little bit of Tim T. I mean, the group that we have down here really kind of cuts off. And the one thing I did different in this video you're going to see in chapter 6 is I do my own bluff charges.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean I just run into the woods crazy thinking I'm going to jump something, but early on, from all the channels we all watch, and I'm not going to name them, throwing out their opinions of mind speak and mind reading and going in there with a purpose and having hate in your heart and all this mumbo jumbo. Again, I don't care. I'm only interested in movement. I am tunnel visioned. I'm capturing movement. That's all I'm after. I don't really want to know all the paranormal stories, because if it moves, I'm going to capture it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I don't care about the back stuff so much. And I feel bad because I'm ignorant in it. I mean, I can't hold conversations like when um, I'm envious of Pat and of Squatch Talk and Leon, because they can go on about the history and the three horsemen and go way back. And it's like, I don't care. You know, these people have done Bigfooting for 20, 30, 40 years. And I got in trouble my first couple of months with my podcast, where I said, you know, if you've been doing Bigfoot 30, 40 years, then I don't want to talk to you because you haven't, what do you have?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why would I want to talk to someone who's been doing Bigfoot for 40 years and they don't have anything to show me? I feel I have something to show people in the first 6 months. Like I was saying, what is this head? You know, what is this creature Tim T and I saw dart? What was that furry thing looking back at us, where you can see an eye looking at it and blink, and it's sharp as a tack, but all you see is this eye like this blinking. That's all you see. And it's clear as a bell. We can't tell what it is. To me, it's a coyote. You know, it must
Mm-hmm.
have walked up on some log or something and got itself 6 foot high. You know, and of course, there's all those pareidolia channels and Bigfoot channels saying, "Oh no, you all got a young juvenile." Well, I never fell for that. I don't think it's a Bigfoot. Now, I think the movement one scared me worse than the eyeball looking at us in the woods, because I've never seen movement like that. It was actually as if it was on rollerblades, and I've heard people describe that movement before. And when you see it, it's freaky because it's unnatural. It was a glide.
Are you talking about how the eyes just kind of slowly turned away?
They didn't turn. They nothing moved. He had stared right at us and blinked. But I'm talking about 10 minutes before that, we caught something go across the brush in the bush, and it glided. The head never bobbed. It was literally like this. You know, that's unnatural. I mean, you'd have to be on a sidewalk on rollerblades, you know, to have that type of result and darting across in front of us. Tim captured it on his camera. I captured it on my camera. So we're getting movement. I think we're doing it right. I mean, Tim taught me a little bit about tracking, and I taught him a little bit about keeping his camera up on the wood line at 80 yards. I'm trying to bring that to other channels. And when I watch a big expedition go down just in the last month, and there's no footage of the team moving through the bush, there's you get no sense of what's going on, or you get just this big hike. It's nothing more than a hike on a trail. And I'm going, oh my gosh, well, at least I kind of evolved past that. Oh, sorry, Leon, I didn't see you in there. You ready?
Hey.
I have no idea who you
Hi,
are.
Leon.
Who are you?
Matt, you just remind me so much of me at the beginning of this whole thing, man. Like, you got to stop being so bloody hard on yourself, man. You should be doing totally what you've been doing. Like I told you a long time ago, do Matt. Matt, you know what you're doing. You know where you're going. You know what you want. Your keel set for true north, and you're getting frustrated because a lot of people who don't. I'm sitting here listening, thinking, do I jump on or don't I jump on this whole thing? I mean, I get.
This is the same conversation we had a year ago. It is.
Well, it's a good. But you need to hear what we're trying to say to you, which is you got to keep doing what you're doing because it's good what you're doing, even though it's frustrating for you as hell, right?
No, I'm coming on to tell you that after that vetting process, I'm going to do what I'm doing and ignore everything else.
Well, that's what you should be doing. Like no one's asked me to go to the dance. I don't care. I'm okay with that. Who cares? I can't go to the dance. Oh, no one's asked me to go. Who gives a shit? We're talking crazy.
Look what you made me do.
Sorry, man. Sorry, I'm sorry. But I mean, I get like 3 to 5 things sent to me a week. I just got tracks sent to me. I just got a report that came in of people saying, what do you think? Now, there's 2 sides of the thing of what do you think. Part of the problem is that you get so many things of people who aren't qualified. You're qualified in your photography. I mean, just by that opening song you chose for your videos. And you're going to grow and you're going to get better.
But Leon, people don't know that. People don't know I'm qualified. The people I'm reaching out to, they don't even know who I am. Yeah. But what I'm saying is they're not opening up the email or even looking at it because they're dismissing it because I'm not on the Olympic project or I'm not over in the Northwest.
No, the other thing, I want to give you a different thing from someone who gets 3 to 5 things sent to them on a weekly basis. Are you asking me for my opinion? Because if you're asking me for my professional opinion, the same way I would phone you and contact you. If I got these guys and I knew where they were on a regular location, I would get you a plane ticket, get you the hell up here, and you would be doing the filming. Because I know you would get a crisp picture of the fucking subject. There would be no doubt about that. Right. But the problem is when people they sent me some tracks the other day, and this is fairly well organization. They said, Leon, what's your perception on that? It looks like a pretty good track, except if you're not trained in tracking, which most people aren't, you can't recognize what I'm going to recognize when I'm looking at a piece of tracking. The same when we're talking about pareidolia. We throw around pareidolia. That's pareidolia, that's pareidolia. Most people have no idea how pareidolia works in the brain. So when you're looking at something, pareidolia isn't just that you're looking at something and you see something else that's not really there. You have to describe it the same way you would have to describe to me how to use a camera, because I am a moron when it comes to camera. I don't have years of your expertise, your capacity of grabbing a camera, taking that camera, using that camera instantaneously, ready for the shot kind of thing.
Right.
I remember some of the comments you were showing. You were filming, I think it was an actress or something like that, or some kind of star anyways. And somebody's comments, I read their comment. I thought, what a complete moron. Here you're showing you what you do. You can't go rely on other people in this whole scene here, because like you said, you're going to just be banging your head up against the wall with the frustration of stuff that's out here.
That's what tonight's all about. It should have been frustration night.
Well, that's what I mean. And I'm trying to tell you is don't be frustrated because you're on the right track. The problem is you've dumped yourself into a soup of craziness that a lot of stuff with Max is pretty legit, I think. I mean, Max and we don't agree with certain things and stuff, but I don't expect that we're all going to agree about certain things. But what I like about you guys is that you are trying your damnedest to be honestly sincere about what the evidence is trying to take you to.
Correct.
Now, whether you get it right at the beginning, I don't get it right at the very beginning. So I'm looking at these tracks. These people are still waiting. This organization is still waiting for me to get back to them. I have to let them know that. I have to let them know that, well, one of them is the track is a male human's left foot. They don't want to hear that. I bet you they don't want to hear that. And the other thing, too, is I offer.
See, I do. I would love to hear that. That way I can move on.
Here's another one for you, too, that you can solve this one, too. So I thought, look, how do you tell people about stuff that is garbage that we bought into in regards to evidence? So, I don't believe in tree structures, that Sasquatch using tree structures. I'm not saying that Sasquatch don't use trees, but I don't think they build these tree structures. So we're talking about that. That to me is 100% bushcraft. So when it comes to that, how do you help people kind of, because you're going to be dealing with this barrage that's going to come at you. So there's another one that's out there. There's two out there right now that I want people to find out for me. And that is, if you go to the Sierra Sounds, you'll hear two sounds. One you'll hear is talking, which is a coyote, but they claim it's to be a Sasquatch. Now, how do I know it's a coyote? Because we've seen a coyote do it. Thomas has seen a coyote do it. So has Jerry Matthews seen a coyote make the same sound. So we have three of us who have seen it do it. But no, it can't be. It's got to be Sasquatch. Have you seen a Sasquatch do it? No. But I've seen a coyote do it. Okay. But again, they're going to automatically write you off. The other thing, so I offered $100, and I'll do this to everybody out there. I'll give you $100 American. I'm a Canadian, so that's going to be $120 Canadian. If you can film, because this goes back to what you're important to do, is I don't think people are qualified. Film a coyote making that sound. Here's another one. There's a one on the Sierra Sounds that goes whoop like that. That's a fowl bird. It's a water bird. We use that for blasting calls all the time. Whoop, 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 whoop. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'll give you $100 if you film the bird do that one. Why? Because it goes to what you're talking about before is we need, like you're 100% right, Matt. We need a location where if people are going to be couch potatoes, so now you got me going. If people are going to be couch potatoes, is use them
exactly
as people and send your stuff to them so they can verify it. So we have, like you said, a pool. Like we use the hive mentality online. I mean, there's thousands of us doing this. I've been harping on this for about 5 years now. I think the problem is the A personalities and the stupidity that's out here of arrogancy and the temperament issue we have in regards to, I don't care who finds one of these things. Let's just find one. We can find out where they're hanging because they got to have a pattern.
Right.
We can easily film them, but I think the problem is, the other thing too is you got to get to the point where you are right now. I'm sorry you have to get to this point where you just say, well, damn, the torpedoes, I got to do my own thing. Go do your own thing. And keep filming what you're filming. I mean, out of all the videos I have on mine, I have 40 videos no one's ever seen before on my channel that are hidden from everybody except for certain people. And I don't show those people. I don't show those to anybody. And as Thomas says to me, and you've heard him numerous times, even if you saw a Sasquatch sitting down in that picture where you're going back and forth with the picture, it's not good enough evidence.
And I understand that.
Right. Okay. So my next question to you is, why are you holding on to it then?
Because it raises my eyebrow and is very interesting. And I haven't
and there's nothing wrong with that.
And I haven't seen anything, and I haven't seen anything as close to make me want to continue the search. And that day, the context of everything around it was very strange.
Right.
The only thing that's off is if this was a ski resort, it happened on the bunny trail. That's what's wrong with it.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. One of the evidence that was sent to me this week was I was thinking, my God, you guys got these great prints, but they're on the bunny hill. But they're interesting enough to keep hold of, and that's what I don't understand. I don't understand why you're so hurt or frustrated by people not listening to you, it's almost like a Jay scenario where you came to reach out to find out good data. And again, I think this is another thing we're lacking is, which you hit the nail on the head, is there's not very many people out there that like Curious Steve, myself, Brent. I mean, we've been trying for the last year or so. Even with what you do is, about the prime thing we need to know about, which is photography.
Yeah.
You need to know what to get, why to get it, and we don't have to talk about a certain channel that's just did a show that they're going to be doing another show, and they're not going to be using the right equipment. You know that kind of shit. That's why you're important to do your own thing, because we will just come to you naturally because you know that information. I don't know that information, so
and even
other things. So sorry.
And even watching your videos, the equipment that you're carrying and where you're positioning it, I myself am learning just from watching that. I mean, I consider you both subject matter experts in your fields.
Yeah, like how you're always talking about. Look at Matt. You're the one who brought to the look up with your camera.
Yeah.
Quit looking down. It sounds so simple. Well, not to you, because you do it naturally. We don't do it naturally. I mean, I got about 5 cameras on me when I'm out in the bush or whatever like that. Not right now, but I'm envious of you that you get to go in a kayak and you get to go out tomorrow morning, which is in like 7 hours or 5 hours from now. You're going to be out in the middle of Florida. It's roasting hot here up in Canada right now, but I can't do that. I mean, I'm stuck still in the house. I can't quite travel or walk the way I used to walk through the bush and stuff like that. So, and there's areas up here like that I want to investigate, but I can't investigate. And so I have these people sending me stuff, and I have to sit there saying, I need you to train yourself in learning. Somebody sent me something on body language just today. It was great. It's Body Language for Dummies. And I think it's a full book. I'm going to send it out to everybody I can think of. And the idea is to help people learn how to assess when they're talking to people. Or again, how do you read the ground? How do you read a footprint? How do you know it's not just somebody walking around? Because that's a big thing now. Everyone's walking around being Mother Earthy, take off your shoes and let your feet touch the ground, And there's all these people coming up with these narrators. Oh, that's a toddler Sasquatch and a juvenile Sasquatch. And it's like, no, it's a human footprint. I'm sorry. But if you don't even know the difference between those, because people are hoping and nobody knows. And if we could just get, again, like you said, if just one of us filmed a Gimlin video again for a minute in a whole year and posted that, everyone kept all their shit off the air or maybe behind the scenes, like you're doing, like you do, you send stuff around. That would pump us, because that's what I mean, think of it. How many videos are out there of Sasquatch? Really? Do you actually buy that are Sasquatch? Well, if you watch Hoaxes and Hoodwinks, I can't think of any. How about photos? Well, there's a lot of good photos out there, but I've done my own research on that too. I can't find all these ones that we used. I even fell for. I can't find any to be valid. So,
well, first of all, I won't look at a photo of a Sasquatch at all. Photos are irrelevant when it comes to Sasquatch. I don't care. It's got to be video where you can see a character, a movement, and it's got to be 5-10 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a photojournalist, and I'm shooting video. I'm having to learn to video edit and to learn to shoot video. I struggled mainly with the YouTube format of when do I shoot 4K and when do I shoot 1080p and what happens if I shoot 720 and upload it to this? Yeah. What happens if I'm shooting with my Sony? It only shoots 24 frames a second, and I upload it to YouTube that shoots 30 frames a second. Yeah. What is that actually doing? Well, you saw it, the Patterson Gimlin film that nobody understands. That was shot at 14 frames a second, uploaded TV at 30 frames a second. There's a lot of shit that happens.
Yep.
When you do that. There's duplication that's happening, which changes the movement.
Yep.
It changes the timing. Nothing is what it was on those films because it was transferred to 30 frames a second. Because why? It went to TV. So unless you get a hold of the original film and watch it through a projector, you're not looking at what they saw.
Right. Well, I think, see, and that's the stuff that I'm more interested in. I'm interested in that type of data, reality. I think we should take a pool of all the information we so-called have the Sasquatch, relook at it again, and find out whether or not it's actually valid.
Well,
because I think most of it isn't. And so
yeah.
I think you're totally fine at doing whatever you're doing, because I think you're probably making more headway than we've had in the last little while. So.
I think I'm moving. I think I'm moving pretty quick. I mean, I just gotta. I just gotta. I'm still working. I still got a 40-hour-a-week job at a major TV station, so it's hard to get out when I want. And then, of course, I have this stupid knee injury, and I'm not getting out at all.
Yeah.
So it's very frustrating to me.
I hear you. Anyways, I don't want to stay on here. You can tell that I was definitely frustrated in that. And I just wanted to let you know that, look, I appreciate that you're on here. I appreciate that you disagree with me. I appreciate that you know much more than I will ever know in regards to photography and cinema. And if I ever do catch them and know where they are, yeah, you will be getting a phone call from me. There's a group of you that I have looked for 5-6 years now that I know I would make a phone call to directly. I wouldn't even hesitate. There's a lot of 99% of people, not a chance. I would do it. They're not the same people.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
And Matt and Max is the same way. I mean, Max has I don't know. There's something about his humor that I just totally appreciate. I appreciate your atmosphere and your down to earth kind of wholesomeness that you have about you're not trying to fuck anyone around. Sorry, you should be swearing on anything there, but you're not trying to pull the eyes over anybody. You're not trying to pretend you're somebody other than Matt. That's why I think we're watching you. I'm sorry, but we like you, Matt. Sorry, you're stuck with it. We're going to be watching your channel because you're just Matt. That's what we're not finding online. We're finding people who are their identity is.
Oh my God,
the big Sasquatcher guy out here. Well, I'm not the big Sasquatcher guy out here. I just had one of my clients on TSN, which is the Canadian Sports Network kind of thing, which is awesome. And they're on a few other shows kind of thing. So, I mean, I'd rather be doing that style of stuff than this kind of craziness. But another thing about the pareidolia thing is really find out how pareidolia works in the brain, because it's not one image thing to another image thing. It's a graduation to image, and that's an important part, because you should understand that for when you do films, is the graduation of the image is still in your camera lens of your eye, in your brain, and it projects it over. And so if you're doing overlapping of pictures, your brain within seconds is having a hard time with that overlapping, because that's not how your brain works. And so it's pretty tough.
Well, and the main reason I did that is I have not, in the 2 years I've been doing this, seen anyone show a profile of a Sasquatch or what they believe to be a Sasquatch. Right. So what I thought was happening is that every time people see that slide in that video where I did a still frame and just let it run and hold it, I think they were thinking it was, like always, looking at them, and this one's not.
Through the trees, kind of thing.
It's not looking at us. It's looking the direction where the wood knot came from, because you can see when I pull back on the video, there's a tap to the left. I even call it out. I've gotten a lot better at saying wood knot to my left. I'm doing better at calling out timestamps when howls or whatever, but even that, it was just frustrating. Even with Joey on the last video got the howl. I mean, I ended up with 2 coyotes, 2 possible Sasquatch, 2 just simply not good enough. And then I realized they're right. I the one that connected to me was it doesn't matter. They're still not good enough. Yeah, I get that. I just want to know, but does it raise your eyebrow?
Right. Well, I think the main part is your reaction tonight, which is what I was concerned about. And sorry, like, it's a trackway. I want to give you some space here. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, no, that's cool, Leon.
I was just worried for you, Matt, because I mean, I was where you were. I mean, I think that was one smart thing I did at the very beginning was I videotaped everything. I videotaped my stupidity, my mistakes, and everything, because I knew I was doing what you were doing. I want to do a documentary on what happens to someone who comes into the Bigfoot online community, and by reaching out to them, filming them, asking them to tell me what I should be looking for, finding what they were telling me to look for, show them that, have them say, "Oh, that's incredible, Leon. You're so fortunate that you came across all this kind of stuff," and then spend 2 years, a year, 2 years to find out really how did that all happen. And you would
Yeah.
be amazed that talk about frustration is to find out that everything that they were claiming was just not true in regards to, I can explain it, why it is true. And I think you're right to get together with the right people. And I think, Alex is a great guy for sure. And a few other guys like Keenan and Justin and there's just so,
No.
the younger generation to learn from, like, be on site with them and learn. And that's one thing, like, I think once I start walking them a lot more, is I'm going to take people out and show them more about tracking. I think that's really so beneficial for how do you know the difference between when something is going through grass, leaves, or all that kind of stuff. How do you recognize the ground? How do you recognize what type of animal is going through there? How big the animal is by their footprints, all that kind of stuff. So, anyways,
I like the Matt just explained why Pornhub put magazines out of business.
Oh, way to go. Leave that up to Jeff to come up with that, right? Okay, but Steve, I need to watch the first part of this. Oh,
Steve missed the meltdown. I started off so well, and then
but I think your meltdown is not. I think it's positive. I don't think it's negative. I think the people need to hear this. That get involved with this. It's so frustrating that most people that you're sending stuff to, as A, they are going to ignore you. B, they don't know who you are. And I find it's going to be the guy that's never seen the Sasquatch. He's 300 pounds, eats ketchup potato chips. He's going to have a clear picture of a Sasquatch, and he's going to reach out to 100 people. No one's going to look at it except he'll finally find me, and he'll send it, and I will look at it, because I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be somebody who, I've seen some pretty good. I haven't showed any of these pictures, but I've had pictures that were sent to me that Sasquatch is looking over rocks, and I can't see it other than Sasquatch is still looking over rocks. So, but I don't have the access. I don't have the right for those pictures to show anybody those pictures. But they're crystal clear. They're not anything that's shitty. And trying to convince, again, they're having to wait to convince a person about why it would be important to do that. But again, if I came across something like that, I don't think I would send it. I wouldn't send it. I don't owe it to the YouTube world. I would make a phone call to Steve, Brent, you, Thomas, the Book Walk crew, and we'd all get together along with Justin and a few other people, and we would keep it under wraps, especially if I could find out, like, their pattern. They have to have a pattern. Every living thing has a pattern.
They have to have. Excuse me. They have to have something related to food.
Yes.
There has to. It's a life cycle. Everything has a life cycle.
In water.
Yeah, water.
Water.
I get a little concerned when I seen hiking expeditions with no water.
Yeah, although the crazy thing is, this area that I'm kind of glad I can't walk right now, because this area at the time I usually would go to, as I was talking about, I went to do a video on Google Earth, and I'm going to show people Google Earth and say, if you see one of these things, and show them what I'm looking at, which looks like a snow white cap on top of the mountain, but it's summertime, go to one of those things, because it's a mineral deposit of salt, and put up cameras there for 6 months. Because you're going to find every animal is going to be there, especially here when it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit. They need salt. And so every animal, deer, every animal. But this year, thank goodness, I just found out yesterday, my friend who has one of these on top of his mountain, on top of the mountain behind his property, man, he had a grizzly bear right in his front yard. I've never said, like, and that's close. That's like grizzlies and bears are coming out of the woodwork here in BC, southern BC. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, crazy. So I'm not at least walking up there, trying to walk up there anyways, with a grizzly hanging around there. But beautiful animal. So,
have you watched that bear stream in Alaska that's just 24/7 bears?
Yeah,
Anyway,
no.
we've been watching it. All they do is freaking fish, and they suck at it.
Are they grizzly though, or are they black bear? Because the grizzly run, the salmon run should be coming up pretty quick here. I think they're usually pretty good at it.
The two things I learned this last month of observation of animals. Our neighbors put up bird feeders across the street. She loves birds. I get up. I'm the only one that's getting up at 6 a.m., walking to my car, and I stand there and listen. I listen to things, because of the bird net. I'm kind of into running it in my own front yard, which is another thing. Run your crap in the city or in your own backyard before you get in the woods, because it's not much different when you get in the woods,
Yes.
So I noticed the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays and the crows, all they do is fight all day long. A bird's life is nothing but a big 24-hour daylight fight. And I'm like, I hate birds now. I don't want to be a bird. I used to want to die and be a bird. It's like birds are stupid. And then all week long, my whole department is watching this bear channel. And all they do is stand on these rocks in the river, and a fish jumps and they go,
Yeah.
all day long. And they may catch in a 5-hour period, you'll see 3 bears eat a fish. They must be starving.
Okay, wait a second. I don't know if you can see this. You see my helicopter? You see my helicopter picture right here? Yeah. Okay. Behind my helicopter is a row of trees. Right behind there are all those bears you're talking about. And that's exactly what they do. You stand there waiting for the salmon to come in, and then they just go, come. And you can walk right there. The nice thing is there's so much food they'll leave you alone. But man, they scare the hell out of you too, because they're so big. Like you just can't see. When you look in the bear, it's like holy shit. But
these are brown bears, I'm pretty sure. Matter of fact,
well, they're more likely they're going to be Alaskan.
Yeah, it's in Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's I took an iPhone photo of one. I sent it to Max as a Sasquatch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, really. That's funny. Should give him a little fishing rod. Put him on their Photoshop.
I'm like,
fishing rod basket,
seriously,
cap on his head. Yeah.
Who would mistake that as a Sasquatch in any shape, form, or whatsoever? I mean, when I saw that, I had to take a picture of it. I went, oh, like what? What's wrong with people? Doesn't look like no Sasquatch.
I don't know, man. No, I'm still trying to figure out why people lie or keep lying about it when they know they perfectly you have them that they're lying about, and they still lie to your face. It's like, oh my god, why do something?
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you jumping on as always, and the point is, I'm just gonna make my films to stay away.
Do it. No, you can still have a conversation like this and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, do your own thing, man. You know what you're doing, man. You got a good compass, and hang out with the right people.
I think that's the thing. Now that you guys and everybody from Max's and all the people I went out, and Alex and all the people and Mike who I've gone out with have really guided what I want to be and who I am, and I'm comfortable in it, and I know what I'm doing, and I just don't need all this, Yeah.
Well, I mean, look who's on here. Brent's on here. Steve's on here. Jeff's on here. I'm on here. We all do our own thing. Go do your own thing. Don't worry about what's online. Go do your own thing.
Yeah.
Deal with your people. You have us as allies. When you need to vent, you said, I got to vent. I'm going crazy. And I have my allies. I'll phone Justin up sometimes saying, I can't do this anymore. I'm going crazy. Or Thomas or, Jerry or anybody like or Bill Reed there. Because it drives you crazy. It's like, I don't know what these people are looking for. How are they going to find it with what they're looking for? They don't care what they're looking for. They don't interested in evolving it, pivoting, adjusting. I mean, I had to do all that kind of stuff. I remember first time realizing that I was totally wrong, and how that was starting to enter my brain was, oh my God, everything I've been telling people on my YouTube channel is wrong. And having like about 10 videos by that time, and I'm thinking, I have to go and I have to correct this. because because I'm at a turning point. I'm going to be a Colorado Bigfoot kind of guy. Any Colorado Bigfoot people out there? I don't know. I'm sorry, but I don't buy that kind of stuff. But or that kind of a channel compared to a reality for my channel, and I stick to. Look at, I always say to it too, especially when I'm where you're at, is I'll say this video is for my members for Bigfoot Okanagan. I'm not talking about anything about your stuff. Like if you watch Gullible White Guy Looking for Sasquatch, that video there I do on structures. That all that is got to do. I always come back to that basis. If I have to say that phrase, I say it to anchor me and to everyone. Most people who follow me have 5 years of watching me, so they I don't have to give 5 years of information to somebody who's just this is a flippant comment to me, who's hasn't. Oh, you just caught my video. You know the ones who catch your 20-minute video and they've already made an assessment of who you are as a human being. It's like, yeah, you totally know who I am. You watch a 20-minute video, probably 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes of it according to your time stamp. That you've watched 5 minutes and you've already made up. Well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, okay, right. Whatever, but I appreciate what you do, and I'm glad you do what you do. I'm glad you wrestle. I'm glad that you help me wrestle. I'm glad you disagree with me. I'm glad that we clash sometimes. I'm not looking for an easy ride. Like I said, it's okay to release the hounds on me, and it should be okay to release the hounds on anybody's evidence, because it's not that we're trying to like shred anybody. It's just that, look, be solid. Do your, like you said earlier, is I don't know why other people can't see it themselves on their own evidence, because they don't want to see it. They want to see the ride, go with the ride of, oh my God, it's a Sasquatch. Sure, it's a Sasquatch. That's why it has a Mars bar candy bar wrapper on the tree there, and a bag of weed. There's the one guy that believes that, oh yeah. Right. But they also get Ziploc bags from the Safeway store, or what?
Hey, I'll give you a sneak peek of the last 5 seconds of my film. This is the very end for all those who have hung on. How many viewers we got right now?
875.
I think we got 12. But anyway, here's for the 12 that stayed with us. This is hilarious.
Yeah, you got the West Coast here.
Even when I try to I can't pull it off, but here you go. This is it. You got to love Max.
We're being watched.
I love that. I mean, it's just like...
I would be laughing my brains out if I was out there for a day with you guys. Like, you guys
We're
are
being watched.
funny.
I mean, Max doesn't let me pull one thing past him at all. I mean, I can't even get anything past him. And I thought he was gonna, like, I don't know what I thought, but I didn't expect busting out laughing at me. That was so funny. Oh, so anyway, I ended the show. The credits roll, it goes to black, and then that comes up and does that.
Yeah, I think as time moves over, your videos are going to be great to watch for sure. So
yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, you're getting there. You're better than I am. I know about editing. It's like you said. It's like there's nothing worse. You post it after an hour and a half, and it's posted on YouTube, and all of a sudden there's a part there that's you said is down. The audio is way down, far right. You can't see it at all, and you're thinking, why does it take 3 hours to download? And just try to find the stupid little sliver that's still there of audio. It just drives me nuts. I'm still here. Good job, Sandra. Yeah, you got Brent.
Sandra's always there. Dorothy's as you know. I like the horrible movies.
Anyways, I should get going, but I couldn't leave it where we're standing. It was driving me crazy too, and I wouldn't be able to sleep, obviously, because boy, I sure got going there. So keep going, Matt.
I appreciate it.
See, is Life Finds a Trackway. If you're still there,
I'm still there.
Oh, okay.
Hey, sometimes it's best just to listen. Know when to listen.
Okay.
How's the Serenity Prayer go?
I don't know. Give me another shot of whiskey, Lord, so I can listen to everybody around me. I don't know. But No, anyways, I'll still listen to you guys as I kind of get myself ready for bed here. Says, I mean, Matt, I know it's like it's 1:21, isn't it, at your place?
101.
101? Oh yeah, 101 right now. It's only 10:01 for us, for Steve and Brent here. So
What time?
it's only 10 o'clock our time. We're on
West Coast.
West Coast, yeah. But I go to bed usually at 8, so here I'm up an extra 2 hours. So get to be old, an old man. I'll tell you if it's a Sasquatch or not. Have a good night, gentlemen.
We'll see you. Thanks.
Yeah, good to see you, Steve. Good to see you, Brent. Good to see you. Who else is on there? Oh, I don't know. And Life is a Trackway. How come you don't have a picture? How come you're not live? How come we can't see who you are? Is there, it's just something you're hiding? What's going on?
Yes, I'm very ugly.
Every time I see Life is a Trackway, my brain bug goes off and I start singing Life is a Highway.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to stop myself from saying. Brain injury, remember? Unconscious for 6 months. Hello.
Well, like I posted on the other night, you got a lot smarter somehow. The last.
Well, apparently I did. I didn't realize. Apparently,
I mean, if it was between brains and walking, I think I'd take the input in brains because
well, I hope I can connect the other two together. But yeah, all my psych tests they did on me said, yeah, you actually blew those out of the water, and I thought, what were we talking about? What are you talking about? What are we talking about?
Steve says when Leon gets on a roll, I just sit back and listen.
Yeah. Well, you guys teach me a lot about learning to shut up too, so I'll let you know that kind of thing.
Oh no, you're fine.
No, well, sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not, but I definitely know I'm a little more focused now. But anyways, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna just keep talking, and you guys gotta keep going. See ya.
Okay, thanks. This has been a good step for me because, to be honest with you, I never thought I would ever be talking, let alone, I'm like on this 12-step program of reaching out. I don't know, something new to me.
Yeah, well, I never thought I would have a show. So, I mean, I'd be the last person.
Yeah, and I don't aspire to it.
Well, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it is a lot of fun, but you do gotta check yourself every now and then and kind of like Leon was saying when he had that affirmation about what his purpose is, and it's just so easy to get off track. It's so easy to say, oh, I need to post. And and once I stopped it, said I'm going to take a month off, after an incident with the team, I just realized that maybe focusing on the work, the quality of the work and what I'm doing, and quit worrying about a team approach so much as to who I'm just going out with the next day, it started becoming fun again, and, and trying some of your ideas and my ideas, and, just realizing, okay, I've seen everybody do this. So what if we did this?
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of what if.
I would do, the way I approach things, I think most people would be like, that's the boringest thing in the world, because I'll just go out in one area and sit. And I ain't got a problem staying there from sunrise to sunset. I do it constantly.
And I think, and I'm 100% that is the way it's going to happen.
Because I apply.
I just got to have that kind of time.
Yeah, and and it's actually pretty hard to do.
Yeah, it's very
But and it's not very healthy to do. There's that.
Well, go ahead.
But I've been in primitive hunting for over 40 years.
Wow.
And that's just how I always did things, and it's kind of odd for me to, not really, but it's just going out in the woods a lot. I'm just so conditioned to being on my own and stuff, and just staying out there that that's what I do. But right
And where
now,
you're in Florida, right?
no, I'm up in Ohio.
Oh, you're in Ohio. Okay.
Yeah.
Spend a week there one day.
Yeah, and the only things I got going right now, I've got my cellular trail cameras going, and video cameras going, and just waiting to see. We had some tornadoes go through and tear up a lot of the property. And we've been out, and we're planning. And both me and Mrs. Trackway are planning to be out quite a bit this coming in August, because August really seems to be the time when things happen.
Yeah, that's
Not sure why.
interesting. Well, mine was October. Which is weird. It was coming out of rainy season. Well, our hurricane season goes to November. So it was very wet in the area I went to, and of the day, I think something bizarre was going on out of the ordinary. Like I said, it was on a bunny trail, not very far from my truck, but it was in the corridor, this greenway, and it was the direction I went was off direction from 95% of where everybody goes. And I was going deeper away from the trail when it happened. So that's what was crazy about it. And we have been back there with different people, and it's a crazy place. And this video 6 is real close to where it pretty much all started for me. It's in the same, area. It's not very far. If you were out in the Northwest, you'd say it's the exact same area, but in Florida, our areas change very fast. But yeah, I got a lot of family in Ohio and Indiana and Kentucky.
One thing I'd be interested in hearing is any captures of the wood knocks you got, because
I got a lot of wood knocks.
yeah, I did do some emailing back and forth with Chris Spencer about the wood knock. I think I sent you that. The video capture I had, and then I found another video capture of it, and some of the oddities that went along with it. And I'm not of the boat that that's automatically Sasquatch. I'm actually of the boat that could that be deer? Because every time I've had a capture, there's a deer somewhere within it. Every time I've had an experience, there's been a deer somewhere within it.
You mean with their head hitting a tree? Like,
no, actually, deer do they have a very complex biochemical, for lack of a better word, of communication. And sometimes they will get their point across to each other by just rearing up and smacking the other one in the head. And it's not necessarily fighting. And I've caught pictures of it, numerous pictures of it by trail cam, but I've never caught a video to see if that is what I'm hearing.
Oh, I can get $100 for you from Leon.
So that's one thing I'm very interested in finding out. And I've had this conversation with Joe and a couple other people about setting up my cameras when time comes, which is coming, to try and capture that phenomena and see if it really does make a sound. Because for me, the wood knocking part was all about walnuts, and then I started hearing it, and I was like, oh, okay.
What do you mean all about walnuts?
Well, when the walnuts drop.
Okay. I just want to make sure that's what you're.
Yeah, when the walnuts drop or when they fall from the trees, they make a heck of a, it sounds like a wood knock, and they'll drop from June through October into.
Okay, we have acorns down here, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they land on palm branches. So, and I have a video on shot my backyard of illustrating that. Yeah. So and that's what Leon and I have had a lot of conversation about, is that especially since you being a hunter, you could be real valuable in capturing those oddities you call oddities, that all of us who, like me, who's not a woodsman, but just seeing a deer, walk up and headbutt another and just hear these sounds. I mean, that's exactly what we need. I will tell you, in one of the videos, video 4, I think it was, the kayak trip. And I didn't point this out because if everybody's watching, they I'm sure they put 2 and 2 together. But Max and I kind of pull up alongside each other on the kayak, and I'm basically saying, "Where were you?" And he goes, "There's popping going on back there, a lot of popping." And I went, "Oh, okay." So I turned around, I listened, and we just pointed our boats upriver and started going. Well, 30 minutes later, Tactical Bigfoot Mike comes up and he goes, "Yeah, I heard." And what was weird is he goes, "Yeah, I heard this popping," and it turned out to be a bunch of beavers. And he photographed them. So he has it. And I didn't go back and tie that into mine because I didn't get his footage. And but we're learning all the time. I mean, and see, you have an inside track to that.
And I'm always wondering, when people are talking about big rocks hitting the water, if it isn't beavers flashing, because they do that thump.
Yeah.
And it sounds just like it sounds like a big old rock hitting the water.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
And they'll do that not just once. I mean, because they got to come up for air, but they'll do it again. And usually they got their pups and whatnot around them. And it can sound like various different rocks hitting the water when, especially on a small body like a pond.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, that's exactly what, and I tell you, when you get those, that is a 15-second clip on your website of the various different animals making their sounds or sounds that you hear. I mean, I would love a database of that to be able to go to. So think about that as you start looking through your trail cam clips. I mean, if you can get that.
I use the iHunt app, which has a lot of sounds to it, a lot of different vocalizations that different animals make. Now, some, with the exception of a white-tailed, that which is common to most of the country, a white-tailed buck roar, which will make your hair stand on end, but they only do it 1 or 2 months out of the year. I kind of wonder if some of that's what they're hearing. But most of the other noises that the deer make are basically little grunt sounds or whatnot. But again, with the wood knocks, I've been questioning, if that isn't the deer making the noise.
Right.
And they'll come right in on campers too, especially during the night. Fawns will. Just the other day, I was out on the one property that I hunt and investigate on, and I was up in a tree mounting one of my trail cameras up in the air, and I came down, and fortunately I had my wife with me. She was handing gear up when I needed it and so forth, because I'm standing on a climbing stick. I'm mounting this thing 9 feet up in the air, and that camera's original intention wasn't to capture, any unknown creatures. It was to capture who's driving back this trail. So, but anyhow, I get down and I step out in the oil well road there, and I look over and I immediately tell her to freeze and not to move and to look to. At first, I told her the wrong direction twice, and then finally, I was like, "Oh yeah, left, right, left, right." Told her to look to her left, and the fawn had come up out of the woods and was standing no more than 10 yards away.
Oh,
and wow. I was telling her, "Don't move," because if the mother's around, we're in trouble. Because the doe will come up and she'll just hoof you if you're too close to the fawn. And I've had deer actually charge me one time. Being
really?
out. So fortunately, it came right up to us, came right up to her, not to the point where we're touching. And I told her, "Don't move. If mama's around, we're going to be in trouble." And eventually it turned and walked off into the woods. But
wow.
that stretch of the woods there where I was having so much of the wood knock phenomenon going on. It got tore up by a tornado this year. So we'll see how things go.
Well, let me know how it goes with your night vision. I just want to make sure got back when I saw your email. I wanted to answer quickly that I had just wished that night vision. I really want one I can use in the thickets, in Florida. I want a wide angle night vision. I don't want a telephoto night vision. That's what I feel like I'm walking with. So it's kind of like when we're in the green swamp and we got a mile-long road and it's a stretchway. Yeah, it's perfect to look for a crossing. If you come up on a pond or a reservoir of some sort or a break in the river and you shoot in the other side, again, perfect for that 75-100 yards. But, that's not a lot in Florida. We don't deal with that, We don't use rifles in Florida. That most people use shotguns, That's the difference.
Well, even
for a
in
little hunting metaphor there.
when you get to this part of Ohio is the foothill of the Appalachians. And when you get, you have that line, which is basically I-71, and that starts your Great Plains, going through Indiana, rolling hills so much. You get a lot of plain country that way. But we're in Appalachia, and about 250 to 300 yards is max for visibility, even during the winter. So, and that'll fit my needs nicely. And, again, with my plan is to do what I do with deer, just sit in a tree stand.
Yeah, I think you're going to be way ahead of me, because I do think that's the way to do it. I just bought last summer a 270 blind, which I haven't really been able to use because when everyone came down in the spring, it was more of a big get together and everybody just hitting the woods, hitting the back roads or taking four wheel type Jeep out pretty far and sitting tight, along the bend of the river or something like that. But we weren't really, I didn't have the opportunity to do any set outs. But then I still get a little freaked out, at 2 a.m. and say, oh, I'm going to go 100 yards out and set up my blind and sit in it. I even tried sitting it up one night and I said, now I'm going to go. It's set up. I'm going to go down here and sit in it. And I never did. And I end up at the end of the weekend taking it up. But I'll get there. I'll
use the blinds when it gets real cold, because then I'll bring the heaters in.
Well, mine's mosquitoes. That's all it's really for is so you're not swatting and moving.
But I took a blind and I had it hidden on a knoll, and I brushed it in. And it wasn't one of the 270s. This was long before they came out with them.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in that thing, and man, it sounded like somebody walked right up to right next to it. Now, I don't know if that was a squirrel or what, but I knew there was coyotes and stuff in the area, wild dogs.
Check you out, huh?
Yeah, I was kind of like, I don't like this anymore. And that's kind of stopped me from sitting in them unless it's really cold. And and I'm armed at that point.
Yeah.
I kept waiting. For me. Yeah, if that zipper started coming undone, I would have been like, okay, what the heck?
Yeah, I got one zipper and all my windows are sliders. They're very quiet.
And then we also have a lot of, we had one guy who was afraid of heights, so he would build stick blinds that looked like structures, wood structures. So a lot of times I'll see photos, I'm like, yeah, that's a stick blind, a hunter's using it. And he's got a couple on the property, and I'll go and I'll stay in those. And I had one heck of a turkey story out of a stick blind, about cost me a hand. But
really?
Oh yeah, this bird, I didn't think we were going to see anything. Oh, you're in trouble now. You got me talking about hunting.
That's all right. I don't know.
Yeah, I did not think we were going to see anything. And my nephew and I, we went out, we chased this one particular bird. When he would gobble, it felt like he was just liquidating your insides. And
Hmm.
in Ohio, you can, the first couple of weeks are morning only, and then they switch it to all day. And he's like, "Oh, let's go out all day." And I'm like, "Oh, we ain't got to see anything." So I'm sitting in one of those stick blinds, and he's sitting off my right shoulder, and I'm just messing around in the blind, not even paying attention. All of a sudden, I hear this real thick weaving of feathers, and I'm thinking it's just another woodpecker because they'll make that noise. And I look over my right shoulder, and lo and behold, there's a tom standing 5 feet outside that stick blind, and he's staring right at me. I'm staring at him, and he's staring at me, and we stared at each other for like 20 minutes. And I had some decoys off in front of me, and I thought, no, I'm busted. This is going to go down. Everything's going to go bad. And that bird kind of made a move like he's going to go behind me. And I thought, well, I can't do nothing because my nephew is in that direction. I don't want to shoot that direction. And that bird, and the whole time I'm watching this bird, I'm raising my shotgun up on my shoulder, and I'm raising it up on my left, even though I'm right. I'm thinking if I have any opportunity at all, it's going to be to fire left-handed. And I had a hold of the shotgun, and I had it sticking out one of the holes of the stick blind. I'm watching this bird, and he made to go behind me. Then he turned around, and he went right to the decoys. And he got, his head had to be maybe 2 inches from the end of that barrel when I slapped the trigger. And that's all I could do was slap the trigger with my right hand. And that action about broke my right hand.
Yeah.
But I got the bird. And of course, my nephew about jumped off the rock he was sitting on and went down the hill. But he was in a safe direction and everything.
Was it 12 or a 20 or 10?
That was a 12 gauge. And that was, I didn't know it, but I guess talking with some of the turkey guys, I got, and he's on the wall, I got a trophy out of it, 18-inch beard and almost 1 3/4 spurs, which I don't know that much about the birds. The birds have disappeared though, and that's an interesting phenomenon. So,
see, you got a huge advantage on us. Yeah, I mean, you can jump in after listening to as much as you've been listening. You're going straight to the head of the class. Faster than I did with the photo skills.
Well,
because
and
this is a hunting game, but I'm to the point where I'm gonna stop the hunting like activity more so and just become the hiker. And that's what I haven't been doing.
Hiking, or you're actually what I would consider a stalking hunt. And I do have a lot of oddities that over the years I haven't been able to place. It actually, when you and Leon was talking, I was sitting back there in the back room, and I started wondering again, and this is going to the wood knock phenomenon, that maybe I didn't notice it so much over the years because I didn't do so much scent control that I do now. And because I've become very absorbed in not taking any scent out, watching what I do with my clothes. My clothes I change outside in the woods. I take them in a bin, and I don't I don't wear them until I'm out there and it's game time. And I kind of wondered if maybe that change in attitude about scent control is why I started hearing or started noticing these knocks while you guys were talking.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh.
Yeah. Well, November 4th. And like I said, I've sent the wood knocks off and had them looked at, and the videos, the captures, and I was up in that stand, my stand, where I can see about forever most places because we're up on a ridge. And one thing I noticed that I was fortunate to notice, first time ever, I had a little deer, a yearling, come up underneath me, and I was just enjoying watching him because I enjoy watching him more than anything else. And I watched how he was paying attention to about way out in front of me, and I thought, well, what's got his attention down there? And I know deer have got terrible eyesight, but dang, if that little deer didn't cue me in that there was mature deer 250 yards to my front down in the woods, because I'd see it move, and then he cued me into other deer. He turned and he started paying attention to another direction, and he cued me into a couple deer that were about 100 yards so down in the thickets. And I was watching them, and that's when I heard in the daylight hours I heard the wood knock, and it happened high in the ravine, and those deer were acting skittish. They were on the ridge of the ravine, and heard the wood knock down in there, and then I'd hear that wood knock move. I'd hear another one about every 20 minutes or so. I'd hear a wood knock farther down, and then it came back and then went further down.
Right.
And the way the story ends is, I sat there and I listened to it. I never saw anything until that evening. My brother-in-law had harvested one, and I went to find it, and we were down in the woods, and I just had this feeling that I was being watched, or that we was being watched. Neither my brother-in-law or nephew had a flashlight. They're out there with their phones, can't see nothing. I went and got my floodlight, and I was helping them, just holding the floodlight, and I just had that feeling of being watched. I turned and I hit the floodlight behind me, and that's when I saw what I believe was my first eye shine. And it didn't duck, didn't disappear. It just kind of rotated slowly away. And I let my nephew know. He's got more tales about the area than I do. We finished up what we did, and we got out of the woods. But I will say, after years of, for about 12 years going down there and staying by myself for weeks at a time, last year I just wouldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah, there was other reasons. Not just the wood knocks. I'm just going to go with there's other reasons for now. And I didn't,
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much hear wood knocks. I would say, I could almost say every time we go out, I can probably remember hearing one. Max and I point out a couple on this film that I'll release tonight or first thing in the morning. They're clear as a bell, but the ones I have experienced that I feel is somewhat legit, in a way that you kind of go, oh, interesting. They're not heavy. It's almost like you take
it's like a baseball crack, like a crack of a baseball,
but not real loud here. I mean, the ones Max and I experienced in this video that you'll see tomorrow is just a solid, like 1 foot away, doop, just like that, just a and the day that I had everything happen with the supposed pareidolia headshot was the same thing. And you can hear it clear as a bell on that video too. And interestingly, before part 1, part 2, part 3, 2 weeks before that, I was on the same trail, and I have 10 wood knocks on video. of the exact same spot where all this happened 2 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of weird. But the ones I take note to are not the Louisville Slugger that people talk about. Like I said, it's just a foot away, just a click. It's just a nice little wrist.
See, last year we had the wood knocks, and then and one experience while loading, we used ear feeders while loading the feeder. My nephew and I heard rock collects for the first time ever down there. Now we can't say that wasn't a person or something, but he got really freaked out about it, and that's when he finally told me about his sighting so many years ago. And then
so you guys finally started sharing stories.
It took him over 12, 13 years to finally tell it to me.
Wow.
And no, he didn't. I guess you'd call it a Class A encounter. But
wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it kind of explained a few things. But you know, he's still pretty good about. He never goes down there. He never would go down there by himself. Unlike me, I'd go down there constantly. Never been bothered by anything. Just this past couple of years is when things got a little strange. Yeah.
There's a question here, Matt. Have you used thermal that connects to your phone? No, I'm using the Scout, so I'm not using the phone ones, mainly because of the light that the phone gives off itself when you're out in the woods at night holding it. You're just lighting up your whole face while you use it. So I just didn't think that was a good idea. Not that I know anything. But I read a lot too on Army Rangers and doing black ops and lights out and covering zippers and getting demerits for holding a thermal or a FLIR, turning it on before it's up to your eye because of the light that it gives off when you do that. So I kind of read up on just some techniques of when you're really in a situation, do you really light up your position or your face when using a thermal? So I always thought those were more toys. But they sure use them on all the TV shows and seem to, who knows?
And that plus it stills your night vision. You're better off with a monocular and closing the other eye.
Yeah. And I will tell you that those Bushnells blind the crap out of you. But what's nice is they do connect to the iPhone. So what's nice if you're around a campfire, how I use mine is I turn on my iPhone, I Wi-Fi the image to the phone, I give it to someone around the campfire, and I usually get up with the night vision on a tripod, and I do static camera, and I look for as if you were a hunter with a shooting lane, and I look for those 70, 80, 100 yards through really thick woods pathways where I set a beam, and I throw it's manual focus, so that's all you can do is throw it out at 80 yards and hope something crosses at 80 yards. If it crosses at 40 yards, you got a blob. But I do those trip wires, those night vision trip wires, as I call them, and I have someone else looking at the camera, and I don't look through the Z2 because when you pull away, you can't see. You're totally blind. So viewing it on your iPhone's the way to go. Just a little heads up on that. They will blind you bad.
And that was one of the big things that we were looking at was the Wi-Fi connection, because
it's nice. I haven't had any problem with it.
We were considering several different items. We were looking. We actually went through a whole litany of items before coming to that one. Everything from the night vision binoculars to the binoculars, and then that's when a couple of things that we started wanting in it, and we wanted that remote viewing capability that you could do with a phone, where you could turn the You can turn the intensity down.
Right. Yeah. You can dial your iPhone screen down. You can sit
Mhm.
in a blind, have your camera sticking out a window, and just remote view holding it, or be in your tent or trailer or whatever.
Mhm.
And I have an external battery pack for mine. So I have one of those jump starts that you buy at
Yep.
the auto dealership, and I run the Z2. I run the power into the Z2 from that. So it'll run your whole disc out. I mean, you can set up one of those long road shots, on a night outing, a static camera. It's really what it is. It's a static camera. I don't know any other way to explain it, because it's horrible focusing. It's horrible handheld.
Mhm.
But it's beautiful image on a tripod. Your image increases quality. You get the full 1080p when on a tripod, but when you hand hold it and you're moving, it looks like 640.
And
If
that
that makes
was,
sense to you.
oh yeah, it definitely makes sense. And and that was one of the things I kind of wanted to get was something that we could actually be, and I already planned to have it on a tripod, but I also wanted to be able to like step into a camper,
Yeah.
because I've got
Yeah.
a, it's not, I've got a dual axle 5,000 pound trailer out there that I'd rather just sit in and be comfortable, and watch for something that's interested in what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love putting those night vision cameras here. Actually, I got this little rig here.
Mhm.
Airstream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking about getting the base camp. This is a 23-foot flying cloud, but I'm thinking about going down to the base camp, but I don't know. I don't know.
I think if I was ever get, I like the length of my trailer because it's not, it's a 19 foot. I got a 19
Right.
footer. But a couple things I don't like. I don't know. I guess I've become choosy. I want a double sink. I don't want them. I don't want the main bed being up against two walls. Just
Yeah, ours
simple
is in the
things.
corner, and I don't like it. That's why I don't like this setup, the bathroom and the beds on the end.
Yeah, that's the way
Um,
mine is.
yeah, I don't like it. I don't like this little bump out here, the sink. And this table. Oh, we had a table right here that I'm sitting at, and I took out the square table.
Hmm.
I just took it out, put it in my YouTube studio, and we bought a round one, so I can get in and out around it a lot easier. So, but the base camp. This is a 23-foot dual axle, International Flying Cloud Ocean Breeze. So
Now I do
it's
prefer the dual axle
yeah,
over a single, simply
yeah,
because you don't get that shake when you walk in it. Well, when I put I got the locks that go in between the tires. And they put
yeah,
counter pressure
yeah,
on each.
yeah.
Um, that really locks that trailer solid, as opposed to getting some of the other ones with their single axle, and you can actually feel it shaking even on the stabilizers.
Yeah.
And that's mainly due to the fact that we park on top of a hill.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel like I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night going down that hill,
No,
heading towards the river.
no. The only place we stayed at like that was in South Carolina and Paris Mountain. So yeah, I didn't know you were up in Ohio. I'm an Indiana boy originally, but I never lived there. I was only 6 months old. But Louisville, New Albany, across the river.
Oh, I know Louisville quite well.
Yeah, well, I'm across the river. New Albany is where my family's at. My wife's family's in Berea.
And you know how you can tell it? When somebody
How?
says Louisville the correct way. So it's not Louisville, it's Louisville.
I know. I know. Yeah, it's frustrating. I'm always telling the reporters it's Louisville.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they called it, I think they call it a Kentucky. This isn't a joke. I believe they call it a Kentuckiana in that little area. Tri-County, or they also called it the Tri-County area on the radio a lot.
Yeah, I grew up here in Kentuckiana. Yeah.
So,
Did you get your? I'm trying to remember what this conversation was.
now, are you going to be able to get up and go kayak in the morning?
Probably.
It's getting pretty late.
It is getting late, isn't it? I was just going to jump off for 2 minutes and say, "Hey, I'm going to upload a video tonight," and then I got in a pissy mood.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm going to follow your example because I got two boats.
Yeah.
And my plan is, since I found out in June, I found out the hard way. One, stay away from the ponds in June around here. I got tore up. We went out looking. Yeah, ground spoiler was just too thick. The black flies, I never gotten ate up like that in my life, and they just took forever to heal.
Wow.
So some of the bodies of water, I'm planning on taking them boats. They're going to get redone hopefully this year.
Yeah.
And I'm planning just to sit back in coves in some of these areas. Everybody's talking about Salt Fork, so I want to see this about Salt Fork.
Yeah. Yeah.
West Branch, which is not that far from me, and Tappan, which is the other area that I had a lot of odd situations happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to develop your mindset, because I think you're going to be way ahead doing it your way of just sitting. But you can do that in a kayak too. I mean, you can buy those 20-foot, 15-foot, 8 by 12-foot, camouflage blankets, and pull up in Florida. You can pull right up beside a log. It's fairly safe and stable, and just throw that camouflage blanket right over you. I haven't tried it yet, but I've been wanting to do that and thinking, wow, could I just sit there for 3 hours with one of those things over me, and would it be hot? Is that something I have to do? It wouldn't be something you could throw off and start shooting, taking pictures, but
Kind
just
of
to
like
have I'd be happy with a sighting first, and then I can zero in on the technique to use.
kind of like a one-man duck blind is what you're talking about there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think doing that from kayak is good, probably more so better than I would think using the 270 blind on land, because I mean, unless you really take the time to, like I said, I hunted as a kid, but I'm no woodsman by any means. But there's YouTube, and I follow this guy, wildlife photographer, is where I'm getting most of my tips, where he'll go and set up a blind 2-3 days in advance, and he'll let it go out there and acclimate and let everyone get used to that. Hey, there's this thing there now. And then he will sneak in the wee hours before sunset and get in it. And that's how he's doing all of his wildlife photography, which totally makes sense to me.
There's certain animals, as far as like when the blinds and putting them up, for whatever reason, deer pick them out. I never quite understood it unless you brush them in. Turkeys, they've got way sharper eyesight than deer. They'll walk right up to a blind.
Really?
Yeah, it's they'll spot you if you move in the back, and if you got the wrong clothing on, they'll spot you. But it's kind of a amazing phenomenon in a way. But you get to the point where you're talking about, when you talk about camouflage in the woods too, acclimating it, letting it smell like the area that it's in. But you also got to be cognizant of the fact that there's no. I used to always say there's no straight lines in nature. So you get the roof effect from a blind. So that's why I always try and break up that outline, get rid of the outline, and that's the main thing you always hear is break up the outline.
So it's not necessarily about just concealing the movement of your movement. They're going to still see this, you know,
Possibly.
this ottoman in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, you can be in it. You know, like I said, you can be in it. You have the right clothing on, and there's dozens of YouTube videos about which clothing to wear. You know, you want to wear black.
Right.
I'm not so sure about the 270 and the 360 blinds now. How much of the light plays on those? I've never used one. But in those videos, you'll see, you know, what a huge difference between wearing black is compared to wearing camouflage, because you can pick up the movement of somebody wearing camouflage in one, and you know, and definitely street clothes. And another thing, and I think, and Jeff Harding brought it up some time ago, and he's absolutely correct. Is the laundry detergent and UV brighteners. I use, you know, I'm going out in the woods just doing things. I just wear my regular street clothes. But if I'm actually out there and I'm on the hunt for whatever, it's those clothes are special or washed in one of the non-UV products with the no scent. And
Oh yeah. See, I'm not using that yet. I don't think any of us that are.
yeah, it's you really, with scent of itself and understanding how scent works is kind of a mystery to a lot of people. So like this time of year, I'm not afraid to go out and put a camera up and worried about my scent being on the camera, because that scent's going to be gone just from the heat. Heat dissipates scent quicker. Now, if I were to put that camera up out in the fall, that scent's going to hang around, because the colder the air is, the longer that scent's going to hang around. The longer your scent from traveling to that camera is going to hang around.
Right, right.
And then when you start talking about, and then a lot of people also get stuck with on always walking with the wind, how the wind works. And to a point, that's true, but how thermals work play a bigger role in it. So if you're in Appalachia and I'm on a hillside,
Right.
and I'm looking downhill and I have the wind behind me blowing, okay, and I'm in there in the morning when your thermals rise, okay, I'm not worried about that scent, because my scent is rising and going up towards the sky due to the thermals.
Okay.
But in the evening, if I'm sitting in the same place and that wind's coming behind me, now my scent's going to go downhill, because the evening thermal is going to pull it down. And that's why you hear certain phrases: high in the morning, low in the, high in the morning, low in the evening. So you want to be down in that lower area if you can.
Yeah, I think it's time to spend some time with some serious hunters.
And Florida is a whole different game, because you've got them palms that can hold scent in. You don't have that big rolling terrain down there. At least I've never been in your area. I've been in around the Cape, and I've been around Orlando. But I mean, you have some rolling terrain, and you've got large leaves that will hold scent down. You know, it's
Really?
anything that
Yeah.
won't. It's like a parachute.
Yeah.
And how a parachute works.
Yeah.
For lack of a better explanation.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I don't know of anyone that's sitting still. You know, all other than hunters, and of course, no one's down here is talking to hunters or getting their opinions or seeing if they're seeing anything. But I will say there is a Florida wetlands brochure to one area in Florida, and it may be in multiple areas, that give the bow hunting, the hog season, and the whole rundown and everything, and when the seasons are, right? And under hog season, the very last line, it says there'll be no taking of swamp or skunk ape. Period. And so, I'm sitting in a newsroom, and by now everybody knows, Matt's the crazy one. He goes out looking for Bigfoot, right? So I went and showed him this, and they go, "Is that a joke?" And I went, "I don't know. You tell me. You're the reporter." And so I actually had one of our reporters email that freshwater commission group in this area, and I can't remember if it was. Trying to remember if it was Pasco County, or I can't remember if it was over in Polk County, or it may have been. It was Sumter. I think it was up in Sumter County, which is Green Swamp and Richland. They said the community around the area requested that be put in, for they were concerned with all the activity of the Bigfooters going out, that someone would be dumb enough to try to shoot one.
See,
so like this, so they would put that in an actual state of Florida document. It's like,
well, ODNR up here in Ohio, just a couple years ago, they did 2 webinars on the subject, which was kind of interesting. The one webinar was about 4 episodes long that they put on YouTube. And it's kind of interesting with the hunters part of it. You kind of got to watch, because it's still, with the hunters, it's also a taboo subject, while some hunters are dying to tell you. So,
well,
the people that I've talked to, all bow hunters have had, not every one of them, but they have something to say. They just don't want to say it. And it was kind of weird to come across. I'm also on some hunting forums and stuff, where it was interesting to me to come across some tales, because, like I said, it's a very taboo subject.
What? I don't get that. I mean, just embarrassment, like.
Yeah,
it can't be some code of ethics, because.
Well,
I think can be taken any way.
It's a fear of embarrassment. The one gentleman I know of that I talked to about it. Now, somebody else had cued me in on it, and I'd never heard the story. So I approached him and asked him about the story. And he about jumped out of his skin that I knew about it. That, he had the fact that he had a story. And the look of fear in his eyes was like, I wasn't expecting that. Well, some guys will just flat out, on the other hand, I do have another guy that just flat out tell what happened to him. So,
and these are stories that are never even making it in the world, in the Bigfoot world, and they're probably more.
Look at how long it took for me to hear that tale from my nephew.
Yeah. And Texas Jack, who's on as a similar occurrence. His occurrence. He had a really good story. I interviewed him on another show, and he was looking for his dog. He was looking for a lost dog, when his situation happened. So
Yeah, I can't say yet today 100. I'm not willing to say 100% that anything that I've experienced is 100%, you know, Bigfoot. I'm
yeah,
just saying, man, that's odd. And
yeah,
I can't explain it, and nothing in my background can explain it. And when I go to, yeah, you're talking, it's over 40 years worth of woodsmanship, and
yeah. That's amazing. See, I got to play catch up. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, keep in touch. I mean, I see you out there all the time, and I appreciate your comments. So, um, yeah, I mean, we're trying to get up to South Carolina in the next couple of years. So, big old retirement days.
around Asheville.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
we're
right?
looking at We're looking at Greenville. We just got back, and
Greenville.
we're looking at neighborhoods and um,
Yeah, we used to go to Asheville all the time. When you posted that, I keep getting Greenville and Asheville
yeah.
backwards for some reason.
We went to Asheville about 10 years ago and didn't get it. We weren't that. It was very hippie when we went through there.
Oh, really?
It was like, you're walking down the street and some guy in a suit's coming at you. And he's got flip-flops on or those sandals, and he's eating a bag of popcorn. And as he passes you, he's so friendly. He goes, "Hey, you want some popcorn?" He just puts the bag in front of your face. I went, "No, who are you?"
we would just meet my relatives that were down in Florida. They're about halfway. And we would stay in the cabins outside, like Lake Thorpe. Does that sound familiar?
Lake Worth?
And I think it's Thorpe.
Lake Thorpe.
THORPE in North Carolina.
Oh,
And
okay. I'm
we
thinking
would
Florida. Yeah.
we would meet there, stay at a cabin. A couple times we stayed up in the mountains, and then they were big into gem hunting. So they would
Yeah.
they would go down to that, I believe it's called the Cowie Valley. I can't believe I say that correctly. And they would go down there hunting, panning for gems and everything. And that was their thing. And they enjoyed that for relaxation. Now, being the only kid, I was going out of my mind, but it was, looking back on it, it was a very, I appreciate it now that I'm older, as opposed to being whatever age I was at the time. So,
yeah, I was reading this from Fasterman here. Trapping coyotes most worry about leaving scent. You can't cover up your scent where a coyote does not know you were there. So I touch everything on all farms. Coyotes can't move without smelling me. Okay. So you're basically inundating them with your scent.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Coyotes are so prevalent now. I mean, I got them in my neighborhood, catching cats.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who trap coyotes will go out, they'll collect walnuts, and they'll boil their traps with the walnuts for scent, and the oil off the walnut protects the trap, I believe. I always just did raccoons. I never really did go after, when I trapped, I didn't go after the coyotes or
So what
beavers
animal
or
eats
anything.
walnuts? This comes up in my chapter 6 video.
Well, I imagine all of them. I know squirrels will take them. You get in the walnuts.
Looked like some squirrel munching. Looked like it could have been squirrel.
We get there's two different types. There's the English walnut, and then there's the black walnut.
I think these are black.
They got a big green. It almost looks like a green apple.
Oh, no, this looked like a regular walnut shell, but smooth.
Yeah, it's very the nut itself, the husk. Once the husk is gone, the nut itself is much smoother than the English one, and much darker,
Yeah,
and they're much
that's what
harder
these
to
were.
break.
Yeah.
And just watched a guy on YouTube the other day who goes out and he gathers them for free. And what all he does to clean them up, and then he cracks them up and um, gets about 70 pounds worth of walnuts every year for free.
Oh,
He
nice.
quoted the dollar values and everything, and according to him, I've never had black walnuts as compared to compare against English ones that I know that I can think of. He says they've got a better flavor, and he uses them for his cooking.
Well, in this video that's coming out tomorrow, we found this. I refer to it, as a. I forgot what I called it. I mentioned it earlier, but it's as if I called it a perch, is what I refer to it as. There's a place in the river where it does like this big horseshoe bend, and it breaks way out from the shore or from where you're sitting now. The river does a huge bend, almost like a quarter mile, and then hooks back around and starts coming back, which you can't see. But right at that bend, there's this perch, and there's a river trail, and the perch is about 10 foot off the trail. In Florida, that's a little unique. I mean, because it's not just flat. So you got to imagine this river trail, and as if you were in Kentucky, you have this perch setting about 10 foot up above the trailhead like that. And it's right between three pines, and there's a big solid oak tree behind them. And there must have been 50 like black or hickory nuts. It's either black walnut or hickory nuts in that 4 foot square foot circle. But the circle wasn't brushed back or cleaned or anything like that. It was just leaf litter, sticks and stuff, but full of nuts. And we were under three pines. At first, I thought they were these Chinese nuts when I did a Google image on it. So anyway, I threw it in the video, did a Google search, and it came back black walnut. But it was interesting because I heard a couple now considered really crazy channels talk about nuts and nuts being buried in holes and that sort of thing. It was just real. There's an unusually large amount on this perch, for lack of a better description. It was just interesting,
Well,
so again, not enough hunting skills to put that one together, but
that's when the tactician takes over, and now you view it from a tactical standpoint, and that there's that point giving you the most.
Yes, it was 100%.
It's giving you the most visibility to see around you.
Yeah, and be somewhat cloaked because the way the perch was set up and the thickness of the woods immediately behind you, I made a comment like, if you sat right here, you would never be seen, yet you have a complete 180 view of the river from it coming down to the right, straight at you, coming at you, and then all of a sudden bending and going straight out. It's the ultimate vantage point to be watching the water. I don't know why you'd be watching the water. But also, if something came on that bike trail, and let's say...
Excuse me, I got a cough here. I gotta clear my throat.
If something were to be come that way, and if you were, again, not moving, you'd probably not see anything. And it wasn't even that, concealed with bushes, per se. It's just the fact that it was shadow against a dark tree. And if you were like laying down, someone walking the trail, the average Joe, even in today's world, if I were to lay down, they wouldn't see me. that was kind of cool. But I'm starting to pick up on stuff I've learned from trackers.
So the other thing, and it might seem kind of strange, but I talked with another gentleman about this, and that we're the one area where I've been having the wood knocks and suspect activity, for lack of better words. It's at the top where you can. It's at the entrance of a valley, and this valley is probably about 15 to 2,000 acres. And I thought to myself, man, from a tactical standpoint, if you're standing right there, you can see everything that comes in that valley, and there's only one way in. And so we started thinking about the other area where I had suspect activity, and it's of the same boat. There is only one access in and only one, and it's the same access to get out. And if you stood over where that suspected activity was, you could see everything that came into that area and left that area. It was one heck. I never really put the two and two together until I kind of started thinking about that. From a different perspective.
Yeah. Oh, here, Fasterman has some coyote knowledge. I was a professional coyote trapper for years. My biz was called Coyote Chris Animal Damage Control. The use of walnuts is to make the trap black. They use wax to control.
That's right, wax. They add wax to the slurry, right, Festerman? It's both the combination of walnuts and wax that goes into that slurry together before they put the traps in. I think.
Well, I haven't found a perch like that. Yeah, he says also for rust. Yeah, that makes sense. Huh. Interesting. Well, it's 2:08, so I better hit it if I'm going to attempt to try to go out tomorrow.
All right.
So I appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah,
you jump on more often.
It's great just to get in and talk sometimes, and sharing is a big part of this whole mental health issue side of this. So,
I knew when I said I convinced myself I was going to go on, I went, "This is a bad idea." But they're used to me.
Sometimes it's just sometimes it's better to let it out than keep it in, and you got guys like Leon about and whatnot, and you got enough people. You got a lot of people that care, and they're going to show you, and they're going to show you that they got your back.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's definitely a good way to look at it. Yeah. Thanks, Sandra. Sandra says good show. I don't think it was, but I appreciate it.
Now, sometime, and I know you're clear closing, so now is probably the wrong time to bring it up.
What?
But I do those cellular trail cameras, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that works is that you don't get the full photo. They'll send you a thumbnail of it or a degraded version of the photo.
Understood.
Because of the cost, of sending the whole photo. So you can then request
right. High res.
The high res.
Yeah. I had one at once.
I have seen more faces. I have literally opened up pictures, looked at them, about jumped out of my skin. I have seen more faces in those high res or in them low res thumbnails. When they come, and I'm sitting there thinking that are they doing this on purpose? What the heck is going on here? And then bring up the high res, and it's like, oh, okay, there's no face there.
Right.
But
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is I'm seeing a lot of that with people reaching out to me, and I'm just, and I was kind of playing along for a while, and then I just realized they're not getting it. They're not understanding what I'm saying, and I tell you what, and there's only 13 people watching. So, I didn't even take my Lumix out for episodes chapters 5 and 6. I literally shot it on an iPhone and a GoPro 8. But my iPhone is an iPhone Pro 13. But what's crazy is, someone said, "Hey, you're good with an iPhone." I teach iPhoneography, so I teach how to use an iPhone. I do it at the news station when people don't know things. There's some tips I give on this one, like I was telling Max, "Hey, when you're in record mode, you can hit the white button above the record button and take a still image." And he goes, "What?" I went, "Yeah, you can take a still image while you're shooting video." And little things like that he doesn't know, like how to turn on a phone the fastest. I leave my phone on when it's in my hand and it's not shooting. It's on camera mode with my thumb. I'm literally walking with it on, and my thumb is usually right here. And this is how I carry my phone. It's always on, because you're not going to be able to pull it out of your pocket and do this. But the thing is this zoom on this camera is just wicked. And a lot of people don't know you can zoom like that. There's a 15 times zoom on this. And so a lot of those quick moves I'm doing is right here. You can just do things really quick. But I tell you, these are good enough, and I just don't understand. And I'm shooting on 4K. I don't understand how people aren't debunking their own stuff. That they're still putting stuff out there that's just crap. Because I can get in at 70, 80 yards with an iPhone and say, "Oh, that's a tree." And if I can do it, they can do it. They just don't want to learn their phone.
yeah,
That's like saying, "Oh, I want to go look for Bigfoot, but I don't want to learn tracking."
no,
Or I want to go stomp around the woods for 3 days and be a survivor man, but I don't know the first thing about first aid or safety. I don't know how to apply a tourniquet. I was at work yesterday and had a guy come and take down a sign at the station, and coming off the 4th floor balcony into the air conditioning, carrying an 80-pound rolled up, almost 200-foot banner on his shoulder. Dropped it at the elevator floor, looked up and went, "Ah!" Boom, hit the ground. Just as the elevator door opens, he rolls into the half into the elevator. I went, "What's going on here? You okay?" And he's like on the ground, just, I'm like going, "Okay." Heat stroke. No, he's
yeah,
sweating. Okay. What's next? Breathing. Yeah. Eyes rolling. That's not good. A little bit of foam into the mouth. That's not good. It's like, oh man. But so it's a lot. I mean, I don't know if people who don't go out, who watch our channels, realize, how much stuff, especially someone like me who's not a woodsman, how much catch up I got. Like, yeah, I can shoot, but I'd be much better going out with someone like you who's the woodsman, and me be that would be an awesome pairing, or a scientist, a you, and a me. You got to build that right team. And that's what I try to do all the time, is just put myself with the right people. Right people bring success for everybody.
okay,
Yeah. Well, I will let you go, Life. I appreciate it.
alrighty, and thank you for listening to me.
Hey, no, anytime. Jump on anytime. You're always welcome here. So I appreciate it.
Okay, well, good night, buddy.
Good night. I'll get off here in a minute. Awesome. Well, guys, 13 of you, I don't know why you're still watching me. Oh my God. Hey, Fasterman, we got to talk too about rock and roll, because I was following rock scene from the 70s. I was more heavy 70s. I think I knew all the photographers. What was his name? Green. I think his last name was Green. But yeah, I was a big rock scene. You know, that was the goal in life, was to be a rock and roll photographer, which I did become, but not professionally. But yeah, you know, I've shot a lot of stuff from Zeppelin to Kiss to Pink Floyd to Mother's Finest to Peter Frampton to Journey. You know, got all that stuff. Carried the camera in illegally and did all that stuff. Insomniacs Unite. Yes, true. Okay, well, I got to get up and load a kayak in a Tundra tomorrow morning, and if I feel good, I don't want to go out groggy. So, thanks for putting up with me. Again, the new Chapter 6 will be open. Will be at the bookstore tomorrow morning. If not tonight, I just got to make a thumbnail. But if you're nice, I might just flip it without a thumbnail if anybody wants to really stay up. But anyway, we'll talk to you all later. Thank you. You guys are loyal. We really appreciate it. I'm going to end this. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Bye.